lineup. They've led the NCAA tournament in homers each of the last two, and they hit 4 yesterday. And far and away lead the Pac-12. They hit 106 this year. And Eddie Park at the top, the Pac-12 Player of the Year. Alberto Rios 5th. And Carter Graham, who's hitting 3rd for the Cardinal. The first baseman is riding a 22-game hitting streak into tonight. And on the mound, Justin Lampkin makes the start. Shocking that a left-hander would be on the mound for A&M.
Well, how many do they have? Well, he's just another. He's a freshman, 6'4", 210. And take a look at his numbers here. His ERA is 5.62. The walks have been an issue. Opponents hit just $2.13, otherwise known as 213. So what part of hitting 213 equates to that ERA? Well, he gets himself in his own troubles, right? In his own messes. He walks individuals and it gets him in messes. If he's throwing strikes and not giving free passes, he is really, really good.
Eddie Park looks at a strike. 338, 6 homers for the junior from San Jose. Park 3 for 4, scored 4 runs yesterday.
It's a Cardinal offense that hit second, had the second best average in the pack behind Arizona.
Average over 8.6 runs a game. As Eddie Park last year was the Stanford Regional Most Outstanding Player. He went 14 for 20 in the regional last year. 700. Lined out toward left center, on the move, going back as Targachny makes the catch. Just shy of the warning track, and he carries onto the track and taps up against the fence and runs down that line drive off the bat of Eddie Park. 1 gone.
Well, Targach has not played left that much at all, but it sure does look the last 2 nights like he's played there his entire life. Last night he played a ball off the wall perfectly, and then that's not an easy play. You got the sun coming, and it's Oppo from a left-hand hitter.
Tommy Troy, 401, 15 homers, including 1 against San Jose State yesterday. And he taps that one foul. It's 0-2 on Troy. 3 for 4 last night, drove in 3. Tommy Troy, all Pac-12 performer. Multi-hits in 9 of the last 10 games. Who will go high in the draft next month. Well, Tommy Troy projected to go mid to late first round.
Excuse me, Raj. He can do so much, right? He can play anywhere on the infield. He can steal bases, but he's got that sneaky pop.
Got under it, popped it up. Hunter Haas angling out, and he puts it away. There's 2 gone here in the Stanford first.
And I'm not sure how sneaky that power is. I mean, he had double-digit home runs. That said, but what's interesting about this Stanford offense, how gaudy we talk about, how much they led the home run, the Pac-12 in home runs. They're the second toughest team to strike out in the conference as well, in the Pac-12.
325 for Carter Graham, 15 homers. And with Rios leading his team 70 driven in. That's ball 1 to Carter Graham. 22-game hitting streak. 1 for 4 with an RBI and a double yesterday. All Pac-12 this year for Graham. He was driven in 30 runs in the last 13 games. Graham, who got off to a miserable start this year, was just 2 for his first 30. And Graham turned it on. He's been hitting up over 360 since. Led the Pac-12, 22 homers a year ago for the junior first baseman, and barely played at all as a freshman. And emerged last year, a breakout season. He's backed it up this year. Fooled him there with something soft, and it's 2-2.
Back-to-back changeups right there. It just showed you the respect that they have for Graham. But he struggled early in the year, and then David Esker moved him from the 4-hole into the 2-hole. And it just was like magical. And he took off from there, and now he's back where he thinks he belongs, and David Esker thinks he belongs.
Full count on Carter Graham as Justin Lampkin, the pitch. And on appeal, no swing at first, says Mike Jarbo, the umpire down there. And the first base runner for Stanford, a 2-out walk. Carter Graham is on for Braden Montgomery.
It's a 3-2 changeup. And a good one from Lampkin. Real good take from Graham.
Montgomery, a switch hitter, will bat right against the lefty. 324, 15 homers for Braden Montgomery. Had a 12-game hitting streak broken up yesterday. Freshman Lampkin from Corpus Christi facing the Madison, Mississippi native, Braden Montgomery. Short lead for Carter Graham. Swinging a high fly ball, left center. Back is Jordan Thompson at the wall. It's gone. Home run, Braden Montgomery. Stanford takes the lead.
We'll get a look at this, and you know, you watch him swing. We see him mostly from the left-hand side, but you watch him in BP, it's a short, compact swing, as you see Carter Graham saying, nice going, partner. But Braden Montgomery is on the radar, obviously, of all the major league organizations, but he's going to be in that big-time radar next year, isn't he?
Alberto Rios skies this one, pushing toward foul ground on the right field side. Jason Laviolette runs out of room. Well, Braden Montgomery, the scouts, yes, they're zeroing in on the 2023 prospects, but they're well aware of the 2024 draft and where Braden Montgomery sits. Very likely a top 10 pick.
Well, when you see him from the right-hand side hit a fastball down and in out to left center, it's a beautiful thing. It means there's plate coverage. It means that he's reacting to the fastball, not looking for it. You're looking for a fastball in, you get it. Most of the time you're going to pull it foul. He's just reacting to that fastball. Speaking of reacting to the fastball, this youngster.
Grounded to third. Trevor Warner deep behind the bag. Rifles it across to first. Stanford is gone, but Braden Montgomery gives the Cardinal the lead. After A&M got a run at the top, Braden Montgomery a 2-run shot.
Well, one of the best in the country. This is what this team does. They hit balls out of the yard. It doesn't matter which day. It's somebody different every day. And today, it was Mr. Montgomery.
The 5th homer for Stanford in this regional. And they've hit 107, the second most in a season. After a school record 118 last year, they hit 23 in the postseason a year ago. 4 against San Jose State, getting one of the first against Justin Lampkin. 2-1 Stanford. Brett Minnick leads it off. 8-9-1 for the Aggies, and a called strike to Minnick, the DH. 9 homers this year, the senior hitting .256.
Let's see if Joey Dixon can calm down a little bit, get some fluidity.
0-2 the count on Minnick.
That's a breaking ball we didn't see in the first inning. All of his breaking balls were missing up in the zone.
0-2. The pitch. Hit in the air, left center field. Going back is Eddie Park, still going back. And he reaches the warning track and makes the catch. Long fly out the other way. Off the bat of Brett Minnick for out number 1.
Well, we talked about this yard in the daytime, and it's still daytime here, and the flag is blowing out a little bit. The ball will fly out of here. No question about it.
1 out. Terrific night for the freshman catcher last night, Max Coffer. The average up to 188. But Coffer, who was hitting 165 going into the game last night, and the freshman who should still be in high school, early enrollee at A&M. 3 for 5, drove in 3 last night. He's had a great run the last couple of weeks, as Coffer had driven in 5 up until the SEC tournament. and then drove in 5 in Hoover and 3 more last night. Good pitch from Dixon. One and 2 the count on Max Coffer. The pitch. 2 balls, 2 strikes after A&M was able to get a run of the first on the ground out from Jordan Thompson. The Aggies left the bases loaded. Threatened for a big inning, came up with just 1. Lined over short and into left over toward the line, cut off by Rios. And Max Coffer, who had a terrific night last night, picks up right where he left off. And a solid single for the 9-hitter, the A&M catcher. We're back to the top of the Texas A&M order. One out base runner. And that'll bring up Hunter Haas, who was hit by a pitch and scored in the first inning. Dixon already approaching 40 pitches with 1 out in the second. And a called strike to Hunter Haas. Stanford 39 wins, A&M 37 wins this year. Oh and 1 on Hunter Haas. The pitch. And that's in the dirt. Staying at first base is Coffer. And it's 1 and 1 on Hunter Haas. It's job by the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year behind the plate, Malcolm Moore. So Haas was scoring a run tonight, has scored a run in 7 of the last 8 games for A&M. Taking off on a pitch in the dirt, and he'll make it without a throw. Wild pitch sends Coffer along to second. So a free 90 feet as Max Coffer ready to go on that pitch that's bounced in front of Malcolm Moore. So runner in scoring position here with 1 out. He went around and appeals, says Mike Jarbo at first. Evens the count on Hunter Haas. Joey Dixon from the suburbs of Salt Lake City, South Jordan, Utah. The pitch. Popped up, foul. Stanford should have a play on it. Dixon is chasing after it, and he peels off to let Carter Graham handle it. As Joey Dixon hustling over near the Stanford dugout and was called off by his first baseman.
Well, the sun is setting to the west, I believe, right?
It usually sets to the west.
Well, okay,
yes.
Again, that's why I turned to you, just to confirm that I was correct.
Have you ever seen it set to the east?
I can't answer that right now. I mean, there's too many people listening. But there you see it right there. But
that thought right there scares me enough.
But good play. Needless to say, it's a good play by Carter Graham because the sun is setting in that direction over there. And it's a big out for Joey Dixon.
So Jack Moss singled in the first. Runner at second, 2 down.
I would say for a pitcher, other than to get the leadoff hitter out of every inning, a shutdown inning, Roxy, where would you rate that? Number 2?
Very much needed. We're entering a unique time of the night, as with the sun setting over on the first base / right field side, you'll see the shadows start to creep across the diamond. Right now, plays fair in terms of the shadows. But once the shadows start creeping across, the pitcher's in shadow and goes into sunlight and back into shadow, makes it very challenging for hitters to pick up the baseball.
It does. I mean, and it can. I mean, there's a good batter's eye here. But I think twilight is the most difficult time to pick up the ball, not only for hitters, but for defense.
We saw a couple of guys have trouble with balls up in the air last night in the twilight. 2-0 to Moss. 2-1. Perfect evening for baseball. On the farm, on the campus of Stanford University. Sunken Diamond. 2 outs, Max Coffer, the runner at second. The pitch. And it's 3-1 now on Jack Moss. Trevor Werner would be next for Texas A&M.
This will tell you a lot what the Cardinals think of Moss versus Werner on deck. If it's something soft, they want to face Werner. If it's fastball, they want to go get Moss. It's a changeup, and it's a good one. This is something that the entire pitching staff of the Cardinal does and has done the entire year. 3-2 counts. They probably, in my opinion, throw more soft pitches than any club in the Pac-12.
Line foul. Do it again. Jack Moss. Full count on the A&M first baseman.
And you see the good 95-mile-an-hour fastball on the inside part. Sets it up for Soft. I doubt they go back-to-back fastballs here. I've only been wrong about 1 billion times.
Why start getting it right now?
Well,
full count 2 away. Joey Dixon. Pitch to Jack Moss. Swinging a fly ball, slicing. This will get out of play into the A&M bullpen.
1,000,001. Backed it up with another fastball.
Again, why start now?
You know what? Basically, I'll just stay out of it.
A&M bullpen, by the way, what a phenomenal job Shane Sadeo did last night. 4 hitless innings, not allow a run, and he stabilized the game for A&M.
100% he righted the ship for the Aggies.
8th pitch of the at-bat coming. Weak grounder. Carter Graham at first, underhands to Dixon at the back. Aggies strand a runner. We go to the home half of the second. 2-1 Cardinal. Well, the Stanford Cardinal have been to Omaha each of the last 2 years. And the number 8 national seed, hosting a regional and a super last year. In fact, they're the only team in the country that's hosted each of the last 6 tournaments a regional. And the Cardinal, 18 appearances, College World Series, won back-to-back titles, 1987, 1988. And the first one in 87, their shortstop was a guy named David Esker.
Pretty good one, too. Played for a tremendous college baseball coach, fundamentally sound Mark Marquis.
6, 7, and 8 for Stanford in the second. Malcolm Moore takes ball 1. Stanford catcher, the freshman of the year in the Pac-12. 306, 12 home runs.
As did our colleague KP, otherwise known as Kyle Peterson.
He did. He did. Those thick, big-rimmed glasses that he had back in the day.
I'm going to leave that alone.
Stepped up his game.
I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it alone.
Just missed to Malcolm Moore.
But we talked about Cal State Fullerton has 2 skippers, current skippers. Stanford has 1, and A.J. Hinch.
And on 4 pitches, leadoff walk to Malcolm Moore. And also, same birthday as our esteemed producer, the former third baseman at Bradley University.
He did play at Bradley.
Yeah. And Joe McCoy.
I'm still trying to figure out why he said touchdown when the ball went over the fence, though.
That was you.
Oh, my bad.
Quick mound visit before Drew Bowser climbs in for Stanford. He homered yesterday. 273, 11 homers for the Stanford second baseman. Not your prototypical second baseman, 6'4". Fans down to the grassy berm on both the first and third base sides, down the lines. And Bowser locked up by a fastball for strike 1. Honorable mention all Pac-12 for Bowser. 6 home runs in the NCAA tournament last year. Lays off the changeup.
Well, this Cardinal lineup, it's just dangerous. 1 through 9. I mean, we talk about the 9-hole hitter and Owen Cobb. He's hitting 330 something.
Just missed from Lampkin, 2-1.
And the last thing you want to do, we'll take a look at Bowser's numbers from last year in the NCAA tournament. Is that any good?
When they say it was the best in the tournament, that's usually pretty good. Got under this one. A fly ball coming in and center. Jordan Thompson waiting for it to come down. Malcolm Moore back to first. And DHing for Stanford tonight, the freshman from Sydney, Australia, Jimmy Nadai, as Jake Sapien was the DH for Stanford in Game 1. And Sapien was hit by a pitch in the 3rd inning, right around the nose and below the eye. He is here in the ballpark tonight. And he got taken to the hospital for some x-rays to get everything checked out. Everything checked out okay. They ran all the concussion protocols and tests, and he cleared that. Just dealing with some soreness, and he got hit in the face the ball game yesterday. And Nadai, who's hitting only a .119. 2-0 the count on Nadai. Now a mound visit. This is from the skipper, as Jim Schlossnagle headed out to the hill for Texas A&M.
Well, this is one of a couple things, right? It's to calm him down, tell him what's the difference between the SEC tournament, which they got to the final, and or just a little wake-up call.
It's a clear message for his freshman making a start here. So far in this inning, 10 pitches for Justin Lampkin, only 2 called strikes.
But for the freshman, right, we can talk about the SEC tournament being some postseason play, but this is real postseason play. So this is the biggest mound that this youngster has been on this entire year. Yes, they've played in some big crowds in the SEC, but this is a regional, and this is the winner's bracket, right? You win this game, and you're in real good position to move on for an opportunity to play in a super regional. Back to Sapien, he was tremendous. He took over the DH about the last, 30 games?
3-0 on Nadai, and Sapien, who had 2 hits in each of the 3 games Stanford played at the Pac-12 tournament. And then yesterday in DHing, in the second at bat, gets hit with a pitch. And Nadai taken all the way in a called strike. It's 3-1 on Nadai, the DH tonight for the Cardinals. David Esker had a few options, but with the left-hander on the mound, chose Nadai. And he takes a strike as he started cheating up the line. He thought it was ball 4.
Wow. Where is this pitch? Look, possibly down and in. I mean, good glove work by Coffer behind the dish for sure.
Swing and a high fly ball, shallow left. Coming in is Ryan Targach, and he makes the catch and the move. Malcolm Moore back to first. And there's 2 away in the last of the second for the 9-hitter shortstop Owen Cobb.
It's a good comeback by Lampkin. Goes the borderline 3-1 pitch for a strike, and then he gets Nadai to pop up for the second out of this bottom of the second. The last thing you want to do is turn this Stanford lineup over in the second inning.
So 2 down, a runner at first. 328, 6 homers for the senior shortstop for the Cardinal. 2 for 4 against San Jose State in Game 1 for Owen Cobb. Drove in a run, scored another. Missed the final couple of games of the regular season received stitches in the base of his left hand after a collision in a game at Washington State in the opening game of that series. Are you still trying to figure out Eric Gaucher's strike zone like I am?
I'm not going to say anything. I was going to talk to our producer.
Three 3-0 the count on Cobb. Top of the order, Eddie Park would be next for the Cardinal. Justin Lampkin gets it in there for a strike. It's 3-1.
Come on, babe.
Runner at first, 2 down. Lampkin. And Cobb takes inside and draws a walk. That's the third issued by Lampkin. And there's 2 on with 2 out. And Eddie Park coming up for Stanford. Eddie Park flew out to deep left. Lead it off as some activity beginning for A&M in the bullpen. And they're going with their top guy getting him loose here in the second inning. Evan Aschenbeck getting up.
Well, it tells you how important Jim Schlossnagle thinks is winning this second game is in a regional.
Here's the 1-0. And Eddie Park takes ball 2.
This is where Eddie's very dangerous. Out of all, we talked about this Stanford offense, second toughest to strike out in the conference, but Eddie Park, the toughest of this lineup. This is where he's dangerous.
Right in there from Justin Lampkin. It's 2-1. And Lampkin has been pitching well leading into this NCAA tournament. It's Lampkin. Last 4 starts coming in, 2.01 ERA, 22 1/3 innings. Gets the strike call. And in 22 1/3, Lampkin had surrendered only 7 hits with 31 strikeouts.
Over the whole season, opponents are only hitting .213 off him.
Park rolls one back up the middle and through into center. Malcolm Moore being sent. He will score without a throw. Owen Cobb stops at second base. Eddie Park rolls one back up the middle, and it's 3-1 Stanford.
For me, this is just a future big leaguer, Eddie Park. I mean, he does everything for the Cardinal, and he's just trying to put the ball in play. We talked about his ability to make contact. You see him a little pumped up right there, but
Eddie Park, who elevates his play in the postseason after 3 hits yesterday, an RBI single there, and Tommy Troy takes it just a bit high.
he just gets forgotten in this lineup.
Troy popped out in the first inning. 2 on, 2 out. That's ball 2 to Tommy Troy, and Lampkin coming off a brilliant outing. And now time is called. That's going to be it. Here comes Jim Schlossnagle to take out Lampkin, who in his last start, he went 7 shutout innings of 1-hit baseball against South Carolina. At the SEC tournament, he struck out 9 in the combined 1-hitter and a 5-0 win for Texas A&M, but he can't survive the second here against Stanford, as A&M turning to the bullpen, and Evan Aschenbeck coming out for the Aggies. Interesting numbers on starting 2-0 in a regional since we adopted this format in 1999. 81% of the teams that start a regional 2-0 and advance. Only 27 have advanced to the Supers after losing a regional opener. And no team has won the national title after losing a regional opener. And last year, A&M blitzed through the College Station Regional, but Stanford lost this game to Texas State before having to win twice on Sunday and a regional final, a Game 7 on Monday. And that's why Jim Schlossnagle's turning to Evan Aschenbeck.
Well, I'm going to guess Schloss knows these numbers very well. As you want to take a look at some good numbers, 62 innings. You see right there, tremendous command Aschenbeck has.
3-0 the count on Tommy Troy. As Evan Aschenbeck. No starts this year. 8-1, 3 saves, and a 3.63 ERA. And that's a strike to Tommy Troy. It's 3-1. And should Aschenbeck lose Troy via a walk, it would be charged to Justin Lampkin, who delivered the first 2 balls of this at-bat. So mid-at-bat pitching change for A&M. Swing and a miss by Troy.
Good changeup right there from Aschenbeck. Shows the respect they have for Troy, even though Graham's on deck.
Three and 2, the pitch. And that's ball 4, they're loaded. That walk is charged to Lampkin. So in an inning and 2/3, Lampkin walked 4 and gives up 2 hits, including the 2-run homer in the first to Braden Montgomery. And here is Carter Graham with the bases full. He walked ahead of the homer by Montgomery in the first inning. Bases loaded, 2 outs. A run in already for Stanford in this inning. Aschenbeck misses. It's ball 1.
Well, Aschenbeck is not a hard thrower. His fastball is going to sit around 90, anyone from 89, 91. But he is very, very successful changing speeds with the changeup and the slider.
Fouled off by Graham.
There's your changeup right there. And the last at-bat, Braden Montgomery hit an inside fastball off a Lampkin into left center. So you can bet they're very aware that if you throw a fastball in, this youngster might lose it.
1-1 pitch. Graham on the ground to third, gobbling it up and taking it himself to the bag, and beating Eddie Park is Trevor Werner. Only a run for Stanford. 3-1 Cardinal onto the third. For all 16 sites continues tomorrow on ESPN Plus and the ESPN app. For more information, visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Heart of the order for Texas A&M in the third. Trevor Werner, James Laviolette, Jordan Thompson against Joey Dixon.
Joey Dixon with the 2nd consecutive inning, an opportunity to get a shutdown inning. He succeeded in his first, which was last inning.
Trevor Werner, strike 1 after he struck out in the first. Packed Sunken Diamond, it is full tonight on this gorgeous Saturday evening. San Francisco Bay Area, on the peninsula, or on the farm on the Stanford campus. Skied by Werner. Over near the Stanford dugout, this will get out of play.
Well, if you're Thomas Eager, the pitching coach for the Cardinal, the one thing you might be concerned about is you see the 52 pitches that Joey Dixon has thrown in just 2 innings.
This isn't a very deep Stanford staff, but they have been getting more depth recently, with some of the freshmen emerging at the end of the year, and that's where David Esker may have to turn as this game progresses.
Well, we talked to him last week in the Pac-12 tournament. We asked him about the postseason, how he prepares, and he said somebody that we least expect is going to have to step up.
Strike 3 called, outside edge of the knees, and Trevor Werner has gone looking for the 2nd time.
That's just perfect pitching. Location, right on the outside part. Werner didn't like it. Joey Dixon did. We'll get a look at it right here. Does that have a little run back into the zone? Possibly.
One out. Jace Laviolette walked in the first inning. Cleanup batter, the A&M freshman right fielder. And he takes it just off the outside for ball one as Dixon started the opening game of the regionals last year for Stanford. They held back their ace, Alex Williams, who last year was the Pac-12 pitcher of the year. And Dixon went 4 innings in a 20-7 win against Binghamton. And then Dixon came back later in that regional. Check swing and a foul by Laviolette. And Dixon in that regional final against Texas State started. So he started the first and last game of the Stanford regional last year. Went an inning and 2/3 against the Bobcats, giving up a run on 3 hits. And that was that dramatic comeback that Stanford had at the bottom of the 9th. 2-2 the count on Laviolette.
Well, Matt Scott was in the 2-hole when the season started for the Cardinal. Freshman, 6'7", was tremendous all the way in. What would you say, Roxy, to the start of May?
More middle of
mid-March,
but yeah. Chased the high fastball, Laviolette down swinging. Two gone in the Aggies' third for Jordan Thompson.
Take a look at this pitch. It's a fastball up in the zone, and
two outs, Thompson and RBI, and the ground out in the first, driving in the Aggies' lone run to this point. And now we're approaching a challenging time for the hitters with the shadows engulfing the hill. Then you have some sunlight streaks in front of the plate and home plate in shadow. So the ball travels from shadow through sunlight back to shadow. Mile high pop up shallow left. Alberto Rios makes the catch. 1-2-3 go the Aggies. In the third, middle third of the order coming up for the Cardinal, including Alberto Rios. Well, Braden Montgomery leads off the third. This is what he did in the first.
Well, it's an inside fastball thrown from, at the time, Lampkin was on the mound, and he deposited in the left center trees.
Only his third career home run from this side of the plate. So 31 of his 34 have been from the other side, the left side. Last year, 18 homers, a Stanford single-season freshman record. And he's out in front of that off-speed from Evan Aschenbeck. Strike one. Montgomery, Rios, Moore in the Stanford third, and it's 0-2.
Good little slider on the outside part by Aschenbeck.
Oh, 2, the pitch. And he takes the breaking ball in the dirt. And even on appeal down to first, Mike Jarbo didn't even move. There's a weak foul at home plate by Montgomery as Justin Lampkin started. Walked 4, giving up 2 hits, 3 runs, including the homer to Montgomery in his inning and 2/3. And Jim Schlossnagle, this pitching coach, Nate Yeski, turning to Aschenbeck early in this game, and now he gets the strikeout of Montgomery.
Real good changeup right there from Aschenbeck, and you can see why he's been so successful this year. Really good fastball arm action, change-up speed on the outside part. The previous 2 pitches, Braden Montgomery was telling them, hey, I'm having trouble picking up off speed. They just stuck with it.
1 out, Alberto Rios. Ground out in the first inning. And there's a grounder, weakly hit to third, charging. Werner has to hurry on the move, and he throws it wildly, and Rios takes off for second. And Rios will get there. That should be a hit and an error for Alberto Rios. And a runner in scoring position with 1 out for the Cardinal.
Well, if anybody defensively could make this play in the country, it's Trevor Warner. I mean, he's a super athletic, tall kid, but he gets around this baseball, fundamentally sound. Unfortunately for him, that throw runs up the line, and Rios in scoring position with 1 out.
Uncharacteristically, A&M made 4 errors last night, overcame that in the 12-7 win. One of the top defensive clubs in college baseball, Texas A&M this year. Hit and an error has Rios at second. Malcolm Moore walked and scored in the 2nd inning. Evan Aschenbeck. There's the strike to Malcolm Moore. And they're going to need some length out of Aschenbeck. They don't want to just use him here early in this game and then have to forget about him. This pivotal Game 4 winner's bracket game of the Stanford region. And Moore lines it to right. And a hit. This will roll all the way to the wall. Alberto Rios trots home. RBI double for Malcolm Moore. 4-1 Stanford.
Well, this freshman for the Cardinal has been sensational with the bat, and especially left on left. He hits very well when left-handers are on the mound, and
he opens up his stance a little bit more with a lefty on the hill.
With the fastball in the inside part, and he doesn't miss this at all, and in comes Rios. But if he struggled with anything this year, it's been behind the dish, not with the bat.
Runner at second, 1 out. Drew Bowser a fly out in the 2nd inning. But A&M will need some length out of Aschenbeck.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, he is their man. And Jim Slosnigo has already told us, based on this move, this is the most important game of the season. Good changeup. Really good changeup.
1-1 on Drew Bowser. Aschenbeck a look back. And Bowser lays off. Aschenbeck worked a season-high 5 innings in a game against Missouri in mid-April. Struck out 8, giving up a run on 4 hits. And 3 other occasions he worked 4 or more innings. So he has some length to him. Skied foul by Bowser. Went 4 innings in his season debut against Portland back in late February. 4 against Ole Miss after he went 2 innings a couple of days earlier against the Rebels. And then 4 1/3 in a game at Kentucky in late April. Full count. Malcolm Moore at second base. Aschenbeck. And that's strike 3 called, and Drew Bowser in disbelief.
Well, it's a changeup, and it's right at the bottom part of the zone. Bowser, you see him shaking his head. He doesn't like it. But this is a tremendous pitch. It's at the bottom part of the zone. And for me, it's close enough.
Yeah, that's a strike. Here's Jimmy Nadai with 2 outs and a runner at second. 4-1 Stanford. Nadai. Fly ball for an out in the 2nd inning. The Stanford DH takes ball 1.
Well, both of these staffs before this game started had a plan. What are we going to do if the game gets to A, B, C, D, and E? Whether we're leading or chasing. What are we going to do?
Nadai skies one to right. Playable for Jace Laviolette. Camps under it, puts it away. Stanford gets another run. We're through 3. 4-1 Cardinal is now the freshman of the year in the Pac-12. Malcolm Moore getting into the act for the Cardinal. 4-1 Stanford. On to the 4th we go. On to the 4th on the farm. Saturday night, the Bay Area. 6, 7, and 8 for Texas A&M against Joey Dixon. As Ryan Targaj takes ball one, followed by Austin Boast and Brett Minnick for Jim Schlossnagle and the Aggies. Walk for Targaj in the first. Homered here last night, and he fouls this back to the screen.
Well, we talked about the concern that the staff for the Stanford Cardinal might have with Joey Dixon being in the 50s, just starting the third. Well, Dixon threw a 10-pitch shutout inning in the third inning.
1-1 to Targaj. Floats inside, 2-1. Stanford got 7 strong innings from the Pac-12 Pitcher of the Year, Quinn Matthews, yesterday. Struck out 7, giving up 2 runs on 5 hits. The other way, that's up the end of the bat foul, and it's 2-2 on Targaj.
What makes Joey Dixon tough? You see, it's a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Well, we've also seen him throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, 94, 93, and now you see a 92. So varying the speeds of fastball can also mess with hitters' timing.
There is that breaking ball in a full count. And also, again, the shadows, throwing from the shadow on the hill, travels through sunlight on its way to shadows engulfing home plate. In the air, over toward the A&M bullpen. Alberto Rios over to the corner, and just inside the line makes the catch. Out number 1 is Dixon's retired 6 in a row. One away. That'll bring up Austin Boast, who struck out in the first. After a little bit of an uneven ride early, maybe
settling
Joey Dixon settling down.
Well, we talked about it. He didn't throw. His last start was how long ago? And
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago. And most of the time, pitchers are going to feel strong, amped up. Good slider there, but it'll take him. Might take him 2 or 3 innings to get the sweat and start to feel back to normal.
One strike pitch to Austin Boast. Line drive, left center field. Eddie Park racing over, and it's up against the fence. Playing the Karamis Park and cruising into second base. Austin Boast, a double for A&M. Double number 14 on the season for the Aggies second baseman. They have a runner in scoring position with 1 out.
Real good job on an inside fastball, hit the left center. It'll tell you as a hitter that they have some plate coverage. Watch the location of this fastball. It's more middle, I would say, than in. But Aggies set up here, runner in scoring position with just 1 out.
Brett Minnick, fly out, first at bat, takes a strike from Joey Dixon. So the double by Boast, as he is now just 1 hit shy of 200 for his Aggie career, and extending his hitting streak Boast to 8 games now.
Well, we talked about all the production that the 7, 8, 9 hitters gave the Aggies last night, and we talked to Jim Schlossnagle on the dugout interview. We talked about and brought up Minnick, and he said Minnick, somebody hit him the 4-hole earlier in the year. So it's not like he hasn't been successful at the top of the lineup.
Line down toward left center. This is trouble into the alleyway. It is off the wall. Alberto Rios plays it back in. Back-to-back doubles for A&M, and it's 4-2 Stanford. Strong contact the other way from Brett Minnick.
Well, it's a fastball away, and Minnick doesn't try to pull it. Just goes with it, finds the gap out there, and drives in the Aggies' second run. How many runs do you think is going to win this game?
It's going to take a few.
I don't think it's going to be 4.
Max Coffer singled in the second. Out toward right center, slicing on Eddie Park, who makes a lunging catch. And he tumbles forward, hauling it in. Back to second goes Minnick. Good break on it by Park at center.
What a tremendous, tremendous catch by Park coming in on his ball. If he doesn't catch his ball, it's either by him, a run in, and a triple, possibly, for the Aggies. We'll get a look at it right here. A big, big out for the Cardinal.
2 outs, Minnick at second base. Back to the top of the order for the Aggies. Hunter Haas, 0 for 1 with a hit by pitch and a run scored so far in this one. 4 runs on 4 hits for Stanford, 2 runs, 4 hits, and error for the Aggies. Dixon powers a fastball in there at 93. Top of the zone, it's 0-2, and Haas kicks the dirt in frustration.
The hitters from both sides have been a little bit frustrated with Eric Gaucher. In defense of the plate umpire, number one, it's not an easy job. Number two, the strike zone is very rarely called.
Strike 3. 3 fastballs by him, 96 from Joey Dixon. A run for A&M. 4-2 Stanford to the home fourth. On the Stanford campus as we head to the home half of the 4th inning, 9-1-2 for the Cardinal against Evan Aschenbeck. The shadows continue to creep across.
But what I started to say before the last strikeout is very rarely are you going to see a strike zone called by what the strike zone is in the rule book. I mean, if you go to the rule book, there'll be pitches that could be above waist high per rule book and per zone that should be called strikes, and they're called balls all the time, and they always have been. I mean,
Owen Cobb walked his first time up tonight, leading off the home fourth. Line drive into center, and Owen Cobb hit number 5 for Stanford. And a leadoff base runner for Eddie Park.
That's why he's been so valuable this year, hitting in the 330s, and when he hits and gets base hits, he just turns this lineup over to Eddie Park, and that's where all the danger starts for this Cardinal lineup.
Park 1 for 2 with an RBI. Singled in the second. He's 4 for 6 so far in the Stanford Regional. And believe it or not, he's off the pace of what he hit in the Regional last year.
He was pretty good last year, wasn't he?
Well, he's hitting .667 so far in this Regional. He hit .700 in the Regional last year. Line drive to center. And all he does is get hits. In the postseason, Owen Cobb takes a turn. Darts back to second base, and there's 2 on with nobody out. 2 hits tonight for Park. Eddie Park with that single back up the middle, now 5 for 7 in this Regional.
Well, it's an interesting situation for the Cardinal. Is first and second, no outs. You don't expect Tommy Troy to be bunting.
Not going to happen.
But the problem is, you see changeup for ball 1. Warner, the third baseman for the Aggies, is playing just normal depth third base, but he's that. I mean, he can fly, so it's a free base if he bunts it. Problem is, he's got over 15 home runs, and they just don't bunt very much. But you know, obviously the Aggies can understand that with only 2 sacrifice bunts the entire year.
And David Esker over the years is a guy who has played small ball and bunted often. 3-0 on Tommy Troy. Carter Graham is on deck.
This is a low danger zone right now for the Aggies.
Forgot to ask you, does he have the green light?
No, I was going to tell. I mean, I would have been wrong. Somehow it would have been wrong there, but
he may have had it, just didn't like the pitch. Line drive at first, handled by Jack Moss, and then throws to second, throws it away. An unnecessary throw by Moss as Owen Cobb was back at the bag. And another head scratcher from Texas A&M defensively.
Well, I don't think Haas saw this ball. I mean, you see the line drive to Moss.
And it hit Cobb. That's what happened.
Oh, it hits Cobb in the back. It hits him in the helmet.
Now Carter Graham, the batter. One out, second and third. Maybe Moss had committed, thinking that as squarely as that ball was hit, there's no way I can't double this guy off, and then threw it to the bag. Problem was, Owen Cobb was already back at second base.
Well, it was a great job by Cobb in reading that line drive.
Two and 0 and Graham. It's walked in a fielder's choice. Looks at a strike. Graham rips it down the left side, hooking, foul. Out in front of that one. Even up 2 and 2 on Carter Graham. Owen Cobb at third. Eddie Park, the runner, at second. Evan Aschenbeck, pitch. Graham in the air. This is pushing out of play.
Well, based on all the soft pitches, off-speed pitches that Aschenbeck has been throwing, it makes that 89, 90-mile-an-hour fastball from him look like it's 95, and that's why you see Carter Graham foul that barely get the bat on the ball right there to foul it off down the right field line.
Got him. Struck him out. Went with the off-speed again. Third strikeout for Aschenbeck.
Well, it's a great job by Aschenbeck right there. We just talked about the fastball, right? That looked like it played like it was 95 and comes right back after that pitch with a tremendous changeup on the outside part.
2 out, second and third. Aschenbeck can get out of this. Be a big lift for Texas A&M. Reed Montgomery homered in the first, struck out in the third. Ball one. Out in front of the changeup, 1-1. One ball, one strike on Braden Montgomery. Owen Cobb at third, Eddie Park at second. 2-1.
Well, that's the third straight changeup in a row to Montgomery. Montgomery has showed them, other than his first at bat, that he has struggled picking up the off-speed pitch.
Ball hit on the ground to third, near the bag. Backhanded, Werner rifles it to first to get Montgomery, and A&M wiggles out of it. Stanford strands two. Good job by Evan Aschenbeck to get out of that mess he created for himself. 4-2 Stanford, heading to the fifth. Joining us next, the head coach of the Cardinal, David Esker. A 4-2 lead as we head to the fifth, and we're joined by the head coach and the two-time back-to-back Pac-12 Coach of the Year, David Esker, with us. And Esky here tonight, you know the importance of this matchup and getting a quality start. What have you seen from Joey Dixon after that first inning?
You know, he started to settle down and get his pitches over the plate, you know, adjusting to the zone, right? I mean, you get into these tournaments and you just got to adjust zones a little bit here. He's hanging in there, and you know, we just got to keep supporting him with some runs. We wish we would have got some quality contact that last game. That would have helped out.
Well, staying with Joey Dixon, I mean, he hadn't started for a couple weeks, so were you expecting him to come out and feel a little bit strong and take a little bit to get him to settle in?
Yeah, you're right. You take a week off, and sometimes you come out too strong, start overthrowing, feel too good. So yeah, he's done a good job, and he's done that for us all year long, man. He's got us into the, you know, 6th or 7th inning numerous times with the chance to win. So hopefully he can hang in there for another 1 or 2 and then turn it over to our bullpen.
What are you seeing from your hitters in their approach to the plate tonight?
Well, I think we're getting the guys in scoring position. You know, and in playoff time, it's about getting that big hit or that contact in with runners in scoring position. Just because, you know, you got good pitchers making good pitches.
Esky, appreciate the time.
Okay, guys, thanks a lot.
Jack Moss singles the other way to start the 5th against Dixon. And a 2-hit ball game for the A&M first baseman. He's aboard for Trevor Werner.
Now this situation, even though Werner is a tying run and he can leave the yard in a second in a heartbeat, this brings back into play the running game of the Aggies.
By the way, after that hit for Jack Moss, who has 2 hits tonight, this ball hit in the air, slicing down the right field line. This will push out of play. But between Moss's career at both Arizona State and Texas A&M, Jack Moss is 10 for 17 against the Cardinal.
Probably count on one hand. The hitters are that successful, right?
1-1 on Trevor Werner.
But you heard Esky tell us right there, they're hoping to get maybe a couple more out of Joey Dixon and get into that pen. And we know the back end of that Cardinal pen has been really, really good lately.
Just miss high from Dixon. There is activity beginning in the Stanford bullpen with Joey Dixon up over 80 pitches now. The runner aboard here in the 5th. 2-1 on Trevor Werner. Short lead for Jack Moss at first. Fouled off by Werner. Boy, Joey Dixon, he's got a little extra giddy up tonight.
Well,
96.
Right, and that's what you recognize. And if you're the dugout for the Cardinal, you're trying to find out, you'll look at velocity and see where he's at. Is he getting tired? Is he getting gassed? Doesn't look like it.
Saw Drew Dowd getting loose in the bullpen. And just missed ball 3.
Wow. You know, by definition, a strike just has, en route to the catcher, has to catch part of the plate. But again, we talk about definition, and very rarely is it called that way.
Full count, nobody out. Jack Moss at first. Dixon steps off. Dixon ready to work. Here it comes. Ground ball foul.
We talked about this Stanford staff so many times this year on a 3-2 count. They throw something soft, and that right there was a changeup up in the zone, and the first changeup that Werner has seen in this at bat.
Joey Dixon from the set. And again the 3-2, and that's a ball bounce to third. Tommy Troy to Drew Bowser on to first, not in time. And Werner's able to beat it. Stanford forces the lead runner at second, out number 1.
Well, it's a 95-mile-an-hour fastball down and away, and you see Tommy Troy, they get the lead out at first, but we talked about the athleticism of this big, tall Trevor Werner. I mean, he's just super skilled.
These two guys, Werner and now Jay Laviolette, they're on the all-get-off-the-bus team when you see them. Like, when you're going into a town and you're going to play somebody on the road, and for intimidation. You want these two guys being the first two that walk off the bus for the other team to see.
Well, if you go down in the field and you walk next to them, I mean, I thought I was tall. I'm 6'5", but I still look smaller than them, even though they're the same height.
At the knees, 0-2 on Jace Laviolette.
Jace doesn't like it. He turned around and gave Eric Gaucher a look like that ball's in.
Stanford defensively, the shift is on. Dixon's 0-2. That's upstairs, ball 1.
Well, here's the thing about shift. As you see, Tommy Troy is playing shortstop for the Cardinal right now. But if you're going to play somebody in a shift like this, you need to pitch him and make him hit it right into the shift.
Way inside to Laviolette. 2-2 the count.
Which would mean all fastballs are going to be in and all off speed pitches. That's the pitch that you can, as long as it's a changeup, you can throw that pitch away because it'll get hooked to the right side. Obviously the breaking ball in will get hooked to the right side.
2-2. And it's up and away. So after it was 0-2, it's run full on Jace Laviolette.
Back-to-back full counts. Joey Dixon has got himself into.
Werner at first, Dixon the pitch. Runner goes, it's skied. Left center, Eddie Park didn't see it momentarily, now camps under it. And there's 2 outs, and Werner retreats to first base. Here comes Jordan Thompson, who's 0 for 2 with an RBI. Two outs and a runner at first. Joey Dixon just misses off the outside. (4-2) Stanford, top 5. 2-0 the count on Thompson. Dixon falling behind after he was being consistent getting ahead of hitters.
Arm strength is still there. He just lost his command.
And again, keep in mind, this is a very good Texas A&M team at the plate in terms of
balls and strikes.
Yeah, they lead the country in the most walks drawn. Last night, again, they drew 12 against Cal State Fullerton, and every batter in this inning has started 1-0. 2-0 on Thompson. Another move to first and leading. Trevor Werner gets back. Two balls, no strikes. Out of play from Jordan Thompson. It took a good rip at that fastball.
Well, that'll tell you how Joey Dixon's fastball is still playing. I mean, this is Thompson on a 2-0 count looking for fastball and still tardy.
2 balls, 1 strike the count.
You're approaching 100 pitches now for Joey Dixon at 94 right now.
Here comes the 2-1. Hit in the air, left field, going back is Rios. He's on the edge of the warning track, comes in a step, and he makes the catch as Jordan Thompson just missed it. Heading to the home half of the 5th, Stanford up 4-2. Jim Schlossnagle joins us next. Bottom of the 5th we go. We're joined by the head coach of Texas A&M, Jim Schlossnagle, with us. And Skip, you made the decision early in this game to go to Evan Aschenbeck. What was the thought process to go into him when you did?
Well, Justin wasn't throwing strikes, you know. Thought that he looked Just didn't look like he had it today. And Evans been good for us most of the season. He can land an off-speed pitch for a strike, which is important against any team, but especially against Stanford. But he's not at his sharpest either right now. So we were lucky to get out of that last inning and see if we can have a clean one here.
Well, Aschenbeck, how long can you go with him? Does he have a pitch count?
No, I mean, I mean, he's pitched at length for us this year, but if he doesn't find a little rhythm in this inning, we're going to have to make a change to somebody else.
Skip, appreciate the time. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Jim Schlossnagle, the head coach of Texas A&M. Alberto Rios leads off the home fifth, and I wanted to get out with him while we were ahead.
Well,
in terms of the track record of his in-game interviews. And last night he joined us, and there was no damage done.
We're 2 for 2 with him.
None of that stuff happens when he's on with us. Alberto Rios taps it foul. Infield hit, scored a run in the third. He's 1 for 2. One pitch. Rios hooks it down the left side. And he was all over that, but just out in front of it, 1-2. And some stirring, but nobody throwing in the A&M bullpen.
Well, you heard Slosh what he said. He said if Aschenbeck doesn't start getting more command of the strike zone, they're going to have to go back to the pen again.
Rios out to right center. Jordan Thompson watched it fall in front of him, broke back initially, and then allowed Rios have the ball settle into right center. His second hit tonight at Stanford, leadoff base runner for the third time tonight.
Well, you just saw Rios yank an off-speed pitch foul down the left field line. This is another off-speed pitch. He hits it off the end of the bat. And in defense of Jordan Thompson, when you have somebody like Rios, when a ball comes off the barrel like that, elevated, your first initial reaction is going to go back. It's going to be back because you know how much power he has.
Malcolm Moore, RBI double against Aschenbeck in the third. He's also walked and scored a run tonight. He takes ball 1. Lampkin went an inning and 2/3. Aschenbeck came into the second as Moore gets under this one. Coming in right field and waiting for it is Jace Laviolette, out number 1. Alberto Rios back to first base. Drew Bowser coming up for Stanford. Bowser's 0 for 2 tonight. There is activity in the Aggies bullpen as both a righty and a lefty are tuning up, as Brandon Garcia is the left-hander with company from Chris Cortez. Bowser takes ball 1. Some wild, critical games tonight around 16 regional sites. Some of them having weather issues. That is not the case here on the farm, as we are blessed, hands down, to have the best weather of any regional site.
It's just gorgeous out here.
Temperatures in the 70s today, reached as high as 79 during the first game. It was 76 at first pitch of this game. And by the end of the night, could drop into the low 60s. Perfect weather. 3-0. And Bowser walks on 4. There's 2 on with 1 out. And Jimmy Nadai will get hit for as Stanford setting up Timo Becerra. So a pinch hitter is Becerra, as Nadai was 0 for 2 as the DH. And here comes Jim Schlossnagle for Texas A&M, and that's going to be it for Evan Aschenbeck. Works here into the 5th, and the Aggies are going to the bullpen. They're bringing in another lefty, as Brandon Garcia, the junior, transfer from Quinnipiac, from Granby, Connecticut, coming in for Texas A&M.
Well, Slosh just told us. I mean, this is what he was going to do if the command for Aschenbeck did not come back, and get to where it had been prior to this game. I mean, it has been sensational for the Aggies this year. Just unfortunate tonight he didn't have the same command, but he got some tremendously big outs for the Aggies. But Schloss said, hey, if I see any more, I'm going to make a change, and that's what he's doing.
Aschenbeck goes 2 2/3, and now the 6'4" lefty Brandon Garcia comes in. And for Garcia this year, his 27th appearance, 5.93 ERA. He's got a save. 54 strikeouts in 41 innings for Garcia. So Stanford leading at 4-2, and Aschenbeck out of the game here in the last of the 5th inning. Gave up 5 hits in his 2 2/3 tonight. Garcia taking his warm-up tosses, and Timo Becerra will be the pinch hitter. For the Stanford Cardinal, batting for Jimmy Nadai, the DH. You're watching the NCAA Baseball Regionals presented by Capital One. Sunken Diamond on a beautiful Saturday night in the Bay Area. Welcome to those of you just joining us. Game 4, the Stanford Regional, the Cardinal leading Texas A&M 4-2. As Braden Montgomery, a 2-run homer in the first for the Cardinal after A&M took an early lead. An RBI for Jordan Thompson in the first. 2-1 Stanford after 1. They got another in the third. Eddie Park an RBI single to make it 3-1. And then Malcolm Moore doubled in a run for Stanford to make it 4-1. After 3, and then A&M got a run back in the top of the 4th inning. RBI double from DH Brent Minnick. Now Brandon Garcia takes over on the mound with Wes Clements and our ESPN crew. Roxy Bernstein with you from the Stanford Regional. There are the numbers on Garcia. 3rd A&M pitcher tonight. Justin Lampkin started, went an inning and 2/3, giving up 3 runs. Evan Aschenbeck, 2 2/3, and now Garcia. Alberto Rios at second, leadoff single here in the 5th. And a walk to Drew Bowser, 1 out. Timo Becerra hitting .310, pinch hitting for the DH Jimmy Nadai.
Well, Garcia, you take a look at his numbers. Where he has struggled is with command.
1 homer for Becerra. He's made 3 starts for Stanford this year. Final 2 games of the regular season when the regular shortstop Owen Cobb got a couple of stitches in the base of his left hand. Caused him to miss the last 2 games of their series at Washington State. Becerra did a terrific job, especially defensively for the Cardinal. 1-1 to Becerra. Grounder foul right past Steve Rodriguez, coaching 3rd for Stanford. As the Cardinal yesterday, a 13-2 win over San Jose State, hitting 4 home runs against the Mountain West Conference champions. Plus, Quinn Matthews, the Pac-12 pitcher of the year, 7 strong innings to put Stanford into this winner's bracket game. Becerra lifts it out of play. As we look at the bracket for the Stanford Regional, and Texas A&M, a 12-7 win against Cal State Fullerton last night. They drew 12 walks in the game as A&M leads the country in bases on balls. Ryan Targach, a 2-run homer last night for the Aggies. As Becerra just gets a piece of it to stay alive, and A&M used 5 pitchers last night. Shane Sadeo was the key pitcher last night.
It was tremendous. Through 4 innings, put up zeros.
1-2 the count on Becerra. And stumbling on the pitch. And luckily for A&M, it bounced right to Max Kofferman. A nice stop behind the plate. And losing his footing on the mound was Garcia on that plant leg.
Well, we're going to look at it here, and you see his left leg of Garcia from the rubber he loses his balance, but luckily for him, he doesn't get injured. Now, it's a much different fastball from Garcia versus Aschenbeck. Garcia is slinging it up there about 95, 96 from 3/4 length.
Transfer from Quinnipiac. Fouled off again by Becerra.
It's a real good changeup right there. It's an 87-mile-an-hour changeup on the inside part. But you know, as a hitter, Becerra has seen that 95-mile-an-hour slinger on the outside part.
See with the glasses on? That was Jake Sapien, the DH, who was hit by a pitch in the face yesterday. Why he's not in the lineup tonight. And that moves the feet of Timo Becerra at a full count. Becerra, a sophomore. Clovis down near Fresno. Full count, 1 out. Alberto Rios at second, Drew Bowser at first. Garcia. And that ball rolled to third right near the bag, but it's off the front foot of Becerra and a foul ball. All 4 umpires immediately throwing their hands up. The signal went off the foot of Becerra.
Well, we have about 3,000 Aggie fans right here, and we'll get a look at it, and it's off the back knee that looks.
Or the front knee. Full house at Sunken Diamond.
At least I got the knee right.
It's half the battle. Half the battle, Wes.
It is.
Again to 3-2. And that's ball 4. They're loaded. That's a really nice at bat by Timo Becerra.
It's a tremendous take from Becerra and by Becerra. We talked about the fastball from Garcia. It can get it up there, rush it up there 95, 96, and it's such a great arm action from him. And it's a great pitch. It really was a great changeup, but it was just a tremendous take from Becerra.
They're loaded for Owen Cobb with 1 out. Called strike.
Situational hitting is so important in the postseason, and the Cardinal failed in their last opportunity with the runner at third and less than 2. Carter Graham punched out. David Esker, when we talked to him, he said you got to take advantage of these situations.
1-for-1 with a walk, Cobb, and it's 0-2. Good pitch from Garcia. That one just disappeared.
It's a tremendous changeup, and we talked about Becerra being able to take that pitch, and this is back-to-back changeups to Cobb.
0-2. Garcia. The pitch. Smothered by the catcher. Max Coffer, ball 1.
It does put a lot of pressure on Coffer behind the dish. As well as Garcia is throwing this changeup. It's just so important for Coffer to get down and keep the balls in the dirt in front of him.
2-2 on the way. Line drive right at the shortstop, Haas, and he doubles off. Drew Bowser at second base. Owen Cobb stung the ball, and Hunter Haas, fine play by the A&M shortstop, and the Aggies able to get out of it again.
Well, it's Garcia. He throws a 95-mile-an-hour fastball on the outside part of the plate. Cobb does his job, puts it in play, hits a line drive right to Haas, over to post, and it shuts down this inning.
For around-the-clock multi-game coverage, scores and highlights, check out Squeeze Play, available on the ESPN app throughout the college baseball regionals. They might be working overtime tonight with all the weather around the country. It literally might go around the clock on Squeeze Play tonight.
It has rained a lot across the country, everywhere except Southern California and Northern California.
We're good. There's no regional in Southern California. 1-0 on Ryan Targach. As Joey Dixon falls behind 2-0. Targach has walked in a flyout.
Surprised to see Dixon back out there?
No, I think that this is around the number of pitches David Esker had envisioned for Dixon. And he hasn't pitched in 2 weeks. It just misses down low, and again a frustrating look from Joey Dixon. Although if he loses him here, that may be it. 4-2 Stanford. The Cardinal have stranded 8 runners though tonight. Dixon gets it in there for a strike. 3-1 on Ryan Targach. On the ground, sharply hit. Handled by Drew Bowser off to the side. And Ryan Targach is thrown out, 1 gone.
I think the Cardinal, Thomas Eager, the pitching coach, they're just going hitter by hitter right now with Joey Dixon.
If somebody reaches, that's probably it.
Possibly, depending. I mean, right now with minutes the left-hander on deck, you might see them go to Drew Dowd in the pen.
So 1 out. Austin Boast doubling a run in the 4th inning, 1 for 2 tonight. Sitting on 199 career hits. And he lifts this one out of play. 0-1 on Boast. So a 12-7 win for A&M last night against Cal State Fullerton. Both scoring 3 runs and now an 8-game hitting streak for the Aggies' second baseman. Skies this one right behind the plate. Malcolm Moore. 2 outs. That'll bring up Brett Minnick, who doubled in a run in the 3rd.
Well, Minnick is such an important hitter right now for the Cardinal. Just a 2-run lead, and this is the right-hander Dixon on the mound, and you just like to think that you might, if you're going to use Dowd, you're bringing him right now, right? So the tying run doesn't come up.
And Minnick has seen Dixon well in the first 2 at-bats tonight.
But again, there's many ways to do this, and that's why we're up here and they're down there.
Minnick, who has dealt with injuries this year, injured the first at-bat of the year. Broken thumb, cost him 6 weeks. And then the last little while he's been dealing with a torn labrum in his shoulder, which has relegated him to the designated hitter role. Brett Minnick can't throw a baseball right now.
He can hit one.
1-2.
Real good curveball right there. Bottom drops out of that.
Last year, Minnick hit .361 in the postseason, including 6 for 12 in the regional round at College Station. And he takes it low when it's 2-2. Joey Dixon up over 100 pitches.
And that's a fastball 95 at the knees. I mean, he's strong.
2-2 to Minnick. Full count. You have to imagine this is the last batter of the night for Joey Dixon. Up over 100 pitches. And empty the tank here.
Well, you got the right-handed Coffer on deck.
Payoff to Minnick. And that's ball 4. And that gets the tying run of the plate for Texas A&M and a 2-out walk for Brett Minnick. And for Joey Dixon, that is the 3rd he has issued and the first since the 1st inning. Max Coffer has singled a 2nd. He's 1 for 2 tonight. Appears they're going to stay with Joey Dixon here.
Yeah, you see the pitches per inning, and early in the game you see 50 just through 2 innings, but he had that 11-pitch 3rd inning for the shutdown inning.
Just missed off the outside.
This is where you might take a trip out to the mound if you're Malcolm Moore, just to give him a little bit more time to concentrate here. This lineup flips over after Coffer.
1-0 the count. Minnick at first. Short lead. And way outside from Dixon, it's 2-0. Top of the order, Hunter Haas on deck for Texas A&M.
Well, the next left-handed hitter for the Aggies is 2 hitters away in Moss.
Swing and a miss.
And Coffer might have helped Dixon out on that cut right there, but again, it's just a 2-run ball game, right?
They tried to grip it and rip it right there. As there's Drew Dowd up in the bullpen. Getting loose for Stanford. 2-1 the count on Max Coffer. That's in tight to the A&M catcher, and it's 3-1 on the freshman. So Joey Dixon up over 110 pitches. Trying to get out of it here. And he gets the strike, and the count is run full on Max Coffer.
Well, pitchers can feel it, right? They know what the bench is thinking. They know when somebody's up in the pen. And so they're thinking about all those things. They're just trying to get this last out. And that's everything that's going through Dixon's head right now.
Career
Get
high,
out of this.
career high in pitches. And Max Coffer shoots it foul. .114 pitches. The previous most that Joey Dixon had thrown in a game was 103 in a start at Oklahoma back in early April. Dixon has won each of his last 3 starts, and he won that start against the Sooners in Norman. Again, the 3-2, and that's ball 4. There's 2 on. Back-to-back walks, and Hunter Haas coming up for Texas A&M. And here comes Thomas Eager, Stanford's pitching coach.
Well, that's just a spiked fastball, and it just looked like Joey Dixon was trying to throw that one 100 miles an hour.
Thomas Eager approaches the hill. See what they decide to do as Dowd, who's been so good for Stanford out of the bullpen this year.
Well, they're not afraid to bring in Dowd to face the right-handed Haas.
And that's what they will do. They will summon Drew Dowd, the junior left-hander out of the bullpen, as Dowd 9 wins this year and a couple of saves, primarily as a reliever, and comes into a big spot in this winner's bracket game at the Stanford Regional. Well, Joey Dixon tonight working into the 6th for Stanford, and the Cardinal would go to the bullpen here in the 6th inning.
Well, season high pitch count.
Career high.
Career high, but fortunate for him, the Cardinal can go to the bullpen to one of the best left-handed relievers in the entire country, in Drew Dowd. He's going to feature all 4 pitches, throws fastball, curveball, changeup, slider. And you see the punch-outs, 73 punch-outs and 53 2/3, and a lot of those come from change-ups down and away. And again, we talked about the Cardinal not afraid, because the right-handed Haas is coming up for the Aggies right now, but they didn't even hesitate.
2 on, 2 out for A&M at the top of the order. Hunter Haas coming up. He's 0 for 2 with a hit by pitch and has scored a run tonight. Packed house on the farm.
It's a good baseball game, isn't it?
A&M trying to rally here in the 6th.
Best time of the year, college baseball, postseason. We've seen 2 #1 seeds go down.
The top 2 seeds in this regional battling a tight one at Sunken Diamond. Drew Dowd, after 5 2/3 from Joey Dixon, walked 4, struck out 5. And now it's the lefty Dowd to face Hunter Haas.
But fair to say there's no such thing as a safe lead in a regional, ever.
2 on, 2 out. The loser will come back at noon local to play Cal State Fullerton tomorrow. And the winner will go into the regional final tomorrow night. 6 o'clock local, 9 Eastern. 2 on, 2 out. Drew Dowd. 0-1. Dowd, the local product from Belmont, which is about 15-20 minutes away from the Stanford campus. went to Serra High School in San Mateo. Last year was primarily used as a starter by David Esker. Began this season in the rotation. And then moved to the bullpen, and when Stanford had some starting pitching issues, the thought was maybe we moved Dowd back, but then they thought better of it because Dowd was so valuable coming out of the bullpen. He'd been so good in that role. 1-1 to Haas. 2-1. If you know the name Serra High School here in the Bay Area, also produced the likes of Tom Brady, Barry Bonds, Lynn Swann.
Is that all?
There's more, but those are probably the three most prominent guys. 2-1. The pitch. Hit out toward left center. That's a hit for Haas. Into the alleyway. Brett Minnick is in. Max Crawford. They're waving him around third. Owen Cobb, the relay throw. Not in time, and A&M has tied the game.
Well, it's a fastball down and in, and Haas just doesn't miss this thing and finds a gap. And the two runners that score for the Aggies are the two walks. And what do we talk about walks? They score about 150% of the time, and just like that, we have a tie ball game here.
And now the go-ahead run at second base for Jack Moss. He's got 2 hits tonight, and the bubbles popping up here. They brought him from Bluebell Park out to the west. Good curve from Dowd for a strike. Oh, 0-1 on Jack Moss. A&M has battled back to tie the game. And the 1-strike pitch. Another curve in the air, left center field. Racing over his Rios, and he makes the catch on the move into the alleyway. 2-run double by Hunter. Haas tied it. Top of the order coming up for the Cardinal as we head to the home 6th in an even ball game.
The NCAA is instrumental in Team USA's success at the Olympics. At the Summer Games, over 75% of Team USA's athletes competed collegiately, representing over 150 U.S. colleges and universities across divisions 1, 2, and 3. And now they compete to bring home medals for our nation. The college athlete experience, a building block for success. The NCAA is proud Olympians and Paralympians are made here.
Hold on, I'm coming. You didn't tell me you were getting McDonald's.
Buy a sizzling sausage McMuffin, savory sausage burrito, or crispy hash browns, and get another for just $1. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
We don't just have everything. We have your thing.
Going out on the next big buddy, go.
I'm Johnny Ferraro, creator of American Gladiators.
Somebody said Johnny stole Danica's idea.
The creator is Johnny.
Has the true story of American Gladiators ever been told?
The American Gladiators documentary. Stream now on ESPN+.
Well, the Aggies have come back to tie this game as we head to the bottom of the 6th, but boy, if they got out of some trouble. Couple bases loaded issues, one in the 2nd inning, and just in the previous inning, the 5th inning, where Owen Cobb lines into this ending double play, and it's interesting how the momentum changes, right? They get out at the previous inning, the bases loaded situation, they come right back and put 2 on the board, and there's new life in that Aggie dugout. And the Cardinals Cardinals had a couple opportunities, runner at third and less than 2, twice where they have failed, Roxy.
Eddie Park leads it off 2 for 3 with an RBI tonight. 5 for 7 in this regional. Looks at a strike from Brandon Garcia. Park, Tommy Troy, Carter Graham for Stanford. 4-4 last of the 6th. 1 strike pitch. Park lays off the slider outside. Third pitcher used by A&M. Justin Lampkin started, inning and 2/3. Evan Aschenbeck 2 2/3, and now Garcia. Catches the edge, 1-2.
It's a real good slider. I mean, Brandon Garcia, if you're a scout, I mean, you love how the ball comes out of his hand. Comes out 3/4, a lot of movement, whether it's a fastball, slider, or changeup.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Eddie Park. So battle of the bullpens now. And A&M went into their bullpen in the 2nd inning. And a full count on Eddie Park.
Well, the last thing the Aggies want to do right now is walk the leadoff hitter after they just put 2 on the board to tie this game up.
3-2 on Eddie Park. The pitch. Slap to left, coming over and in is Ryan Targac toward the line on the run. And a nice catch by Targac crossing into foul ground.
I keep bringing it up. He wasn't slated to play left field, and Jim Schlossnagle said, hey, I want his bat in the lineup, so we're going to put him in left field. But he has made some tremendous plays in the first 2 games. The Aggies in this regional.
Covered a lot of ground there.
He really did, but it looks like he likes playing left field.
Tommy Troy 0 for 2 with a walk. Lined out to first base. Last time up in the 4th inning, and he takes ball 1. It was 4-1 Stanford. Texas A&M has battled back to tie the game. A run in the 4th. The 2-run double from Haas. And now Nate Yeski, the pitching coach for Texas A&M, heading to the mound. 4-4 game here at the bottom of the 6th inning. This week's Sunday night baseball matchup, one of the great old school rivalries in Major League history. Series finale at Dodger Stadium. It's the Yankees and the Dodgers. They've met in 11 World Series. The Bronx Bombers have won 8 of those 11. Interleague play, this new balanced schedule, meaning you play everybody each season. Finale, Yankees and Dodgers. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Our coverage begins at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific with Baseball Tonight, Sunday Night Countdown.
It used to be a big-time World Series, didn't it? Yankees-Dodgers?
Still could be if they hook up again in the Fall Classic. They had a wild game in LA today.
Well, you saw the left-handed Matt Dillard down in the Aggies pen. And that trip might have been just to get him a little bit more time to get loose.
Yankees beat the Dodgers 6-3 today in LA. Tommy Troy blisters one on the ground past third. Aaron Judge homered, made a huge catch late in that game. Garrett Cole with the victory for the Yankees in LA. 1-1 on Tommy Troy. Brandon Garcia, 2-1.
There's just nothing straight that comes out of Garcia's hand. Nothing. He's got a running fastball. Again, if it's a slider or a changeup, it's nasty. It plays like a changeup.
3-1 on Tommy Troy. So the transfer from Quinnipiac. You know the significance of Quinnipiac, don't you?
I couldn't even spell it, but go ahead.
They won the NCAA Men's Hockey Championship this year.
Like I would know that.
Should. And Tommy Troy draws a 1-out walk. That's the 6th issued by Texas A&M pitching in this one. And a one-out base runner. Here comes Carter Graham for Stanford.
Well, out of all the Cardinal that you could have walked, Tommy Troy is the worst one that you could have, because he's their base stealer and the best base runner they have.
17 steals for Troy over at first base.
Although if you're going to go off of Garcia, you're going to go on first mode.
Carter Graham 0 for 2. He's drawn a walk and scored a run. And the Stanford first baseman takes ball 1.
Tommy likes to get a little shuffle as a part of his jump. There you see it right there.
Graham off the end of the bat. A bouncer to first, handled by Jack Moss for the out. Tommy Troy takes second, 2 gone. And Braden Montgomery coming up, the cleanup batter for the Cardinal. Montgomery homered back in the first. 2-run blast to left center. He's 1 for 3 tonight. And a look at that home run back in the first from Montgomery.
Well, it was a fastball inside, and Montgomery doesn't miss it. Hits it to left center. I mean, tremendous hands from both sides of the plate, but super impressive from the right-hand side.
Only his 3rd career homer out of 34 batting from this side of the plate. And he hits this one in the air behind first, foul ground over near the Stanford bullpen. And it lands harmlessly out of play. Hustling over Jace Laviolette. Rid of that short side fence down there. Both these teams in Omaha, the College World Series last year. Opposite sides of the bracket. Stanford winning a regional and super here at home, as did A&M. Tied them up, and it's 0-2. And these teams did it in different fashion last year. A&M breezed through the regional and supers, won a couple of one-run games against Louisville, the super regionals last year. Stanford had to do it by winning 5 consecutive elimination games. Up and away to Braden Montgomery.
I just can't see them throwing a fastball to Montgomery right here. Montgomery's had trouble with the off speed his last couple at bats.
Tommy Troy at second. Montgomery swing and a miss. The strikeout for Garcia. Stanford strands another runner. We're headed to the 7th. Heart of the order coming up for A&M. 4-4. The Cardinal and the Aggies on the farm. The NCAA Baseball Regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? 4-4 to the 7th. What's inside those hats?
I have no clue.
Hats for bats. Heart of the order, Trevor Werner, followed by Jace Laviolette. Jordan Thompson, 3, 4, and 5 for A&M against Drew Dowd in the 7th. This one skied into the twilight. Carter Graham going back. Still roaming back into shallow right. 1 pitch, 1 out. Top of the 7th inning. Trevor Werner's retired. Jace Laviolette coming up.
Well, the 3, 4, 5 hitters in the first couple of games for the Aggies have really struggled. It's been the bottom part of this Aggie lineup that's done the damage. There you see 0 for 20 for the 3, 4, 5 and a couple of RBIs, but the rest of the club 18 for 37 and 14 RBIs.
The big hit tonight coming from the leadoff guy, Hunter Haas. That 2-run double to tie the game in the 6th. Laviolette 0 for 2 with a walk. And he looks at a strike from Drew Dowd. 94 from the lefty. Stanford putting that overshift on. Drew Bowser, the second baseman's out in shallow right. And the third baseman, Tommy Troy, has moved over to shortstop. think the Major League rule will work its way down here in terms of defensive positioning? Good curve from Dowd.
I don't even like the Major League rule. I mean, when you're going to have shifts like that, I mean, it wasn't long ago they used to teach hitters to hit it the other way then.
They're going to give you left field, take it.
Kind of take it.
1-2. Time is called by Laviolette. One out, top of the 7th.
Ourselves a 3-inning ball game. Just like we thought, right? 2 great clubs, great conferences.
One, 2. Swing and a miss. Dowd with the strikeout of Laviolette. 2 outs in the A&M 7th. It's Texas A&M getting hot at the end of the year. Won that final weekend series of the regular season against Mississippi State. Then found themselves streaking through the SEC tournament all the way into the championship game at Hoover. They came up short, but getting a 2 seed and out here against the Pac-12 champs, the Stanford Cardinal. Strike 1 to Jordan Thompson, who's 0 for 3 with an RBI tonight.
Well, what's interesting about the Aggies is that some of the experts thought they might be on the bubble but they end up going to the championship game of the SEC tournament and they end up being a number 2 seed. And that's a really good curveball from Drew Dowd.
Eric Gaucher didn't think so. It's 1-1.
It's a hard curveball from Dowd.
One ball, 1 strike. The pitch. Fouled straight back. It's A&M in Hoover. Beat Tennessee. Then lost. Heartbreaker in extra innings to Arkansas. Came back. Blanked South Carolina. Beat LSU. Beat Arkansas before losing to Vandy in the championship. 1-2. Curve on the ground. Tommy Troy scoops it up at third base. Throws to first in a 1-2-3-7 for Drew Dowd. Time to stand and stretch on the farm. We're knotted at 4. Game 2 of the NBA Finals Sunday. It's tomorrow night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific from Denver on ABC, ESPN Deportes. And ESPN Radio's Jimmy Butler and the Heat looking to bounce back against the Joker, Nikola Jokic, and the Nuggets. Coverage tips NBA Countdown at 7:30 Eastern. Game 2 on ABC. Brandon Garcia continues on the mound for Texas A&M. Alberto Rios, Malcolm Moore, Drew Bowser, 5, 6, and 7 for the Cardinal here. Against the left-hander, it's been all left-handed pitching tonight for the Aggies. Lampkin, Aschenbeck, and now Garcia. He's got an inning and 2/3, has yet to give up a hit. And Rios lines it sharply foul, having third base coach Steve Rodriguez ducking there.
This pitch that Garcia is throwing, it has a changeup action at times, but it also has a slider, 2-3 inch break action also.
1 strike pitch. Up and away to Rios. 1-1 is Rios. Couple of hits tonight, 2 for 3 with a run.
You're looking at the Pac-12 Player of the Year. He's had a tremendous season, but very, very clutch.
Out of play from Rios.
That's back-to-back fastballs to Rios. Does a real good job with 2 strikes of shortening up his swing and trying to put the ball in play.
Brandon Garcia. And Rios bounces one past the bag at third. Foul ball. Do it again. 1-2. Garcia at 35 pitches. Rios leading off, the last of the 7. Garcia last worked in the SEC championship game, giving up a run in a third of an inning against Vandy. through just 7 pitches. And it's 2-2, but he was a busy man at that SEC tournament. Twice faced Arkansas. Went 2 2/3 against the Razorbacks, then an inning and 2/3 3 days later, then turned around after throwing an inning and 2/3 and pitched in the championship against Vandy after working in the semis. 2-2. And it's full on Rios.
Notice that Garcia has kind of varied his set times to Rios right there from the previous inning.
Trying to throw him off?
Well, it kind of looks like it, because the previous inning, Garcia was getting it and throwing it, but he's hesitating. You see the little pause right here.
Line sharply foul. Twice this year, Garcia has thrown 50 or more, or 3 times rather, has thrown 50 or more in an outing. Including mid-May against Bama. Also went 55 pitches in early April against Ole Miss. Season high 60 against Rice in March. Rios in the air, left center field. Jordan Thompson ranging over, and the center fielder takes charge for out number 1. Fly out off the bat of Rios. That'll bring up Malcolm Moore. The Stanford catcher is 1 for 2 with an RBI and a run tonight. And David Esker has postseason track record against Texas A&M. As David Esker, the 2015 regionals in College Station, was coaching Cal at the time. And he brought the Golden Bears into College Station. Cal was in the driver's seat, having started 2-0 in that regional, hosted by Texas A&M before the Aggies had to win twice on Sunday, then Game 7 beating Cal in dramatic fashion, and Texas A&M would win that regional. That was a tremendous regional. 1-0 on Malcolm Moore. Garcia the pitch. And on one hop to short, handled by Hunter Haas. Throws low and a dig at first by Jack Moss. 2 outs.
Well, what a pick by Moss on the back end of this throw from Haas. And every little thing is magnified right now in a 4-4 game in the bottom of the 7th inning. And you'll see this throw from Haas, and watch Moss on the back end. Just stays with it, glove through the ball. Big time pick.
Drew Bowser 0 for 2 with a walk. 2 outs, last of the 7th. Garcia the pitch. Ball 1. And David Esker also coached against the Aggies in the College World Series back in 2011. As Cal played Texas A&M, and Cal beat an A&M team that had Michael Waka on the mound in that game. The Cal team that featured Marcus Simeon.
Pretty good shortstop last time I checked, isn't he?
He's playing great. The Rangers are a great story. Texas is playing tremendously for Bruce Bochy. 2-0 to Bowser. That's ball 3, missed high.
What are you going to ask me?
You give him the green light, Wes Clements.
1,000,000,000%. In a 4-4 game, bottom of the 7th, we know Bowser can hit the ball out of the yard in any place.
It went out yesterday against San Jose State. And it's way outside, and a 2-out walk. 3rd issued by Garcia. And that's now 8 walks issued by the A&M staff tonight. And that will bring Timo Becerra to the plate. Becerra walked in the 5th, pinch hitting for the DH Jimmy Nadai. And that was the first batter that Garcia faced. There is activity. Chris Cortez, the right-hander, has been up and down, and that Texas A&M bullpen is back up again. Held off by Timo Becerra. Again, Becerra in there, as was Nadai for Jake Sapien, Stanford's regular DH, who was hit by a pitch in the face in Game 1 yesterday from Jonathan Clark of San Jose State. Forced out of the ball game. He is in the dugout tonight. Just missed as Becerra check swing, 1-1.
Where's the pitch?
There is Jake Sapien. He's got the glasses on. They ran all the concussion protocol tests. He cleared concussion protocol. He's dealing with swelling. Called strike to Becerra, 1-2. Good fastball from Garcia.
Well, if you're wondering, Bowser at first has just one stolen base the entire year.
4-4, bottom of the 7th. 1-2 on Becerra. Line sharply foul past first. That was hit squarely by Becerra the other way. Andre Mercurio, the first base coach for the Cardinal, goes to chase it down.
Well, Becerra is just in defensive mode right there. That's a fastball, and he fouls it off down the right field line. He had a tremendous at-bat. His last at-bat did Becerra, able to take that. Again, I'm not sure if it's a changeup or if it's a little bitty slider, but it's a tremendous pitch that Garcia has.
Strike 3 call. Had to pause for a second for dramatic effect by the plate umpire, Eric Gaucher. Another runner stranded by Stanford. We are tied to the 8th. 4-4. But Brandon Garcia did a tremendous job for A&M out of the pen. The Women's College World Series going on right now in Oklahoma City. And coming up, some elimination games tomorrow. All Pac-12 matchup on ABC at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Stanford and Washington. And then Oklahoma State, Tennessee tomorrow night. And the Women's College World Series as Ryan Targach leads off the 8th and looks at a strike from Drew Dowd.
Oklahoma has only lost 1 game this year. Amazing.
1-1 on Targach, 6, 7, and 8 for the Aggies here.
Well, both of these clubs are all in. I mean, tremendous big-time game here, and the importance we talked about, the percentages of teams who go 2-0 in regionals.
On the ground and through the left side, and a leadoff hit to start the 8th for Ryan Targach. Hit number 7 for A&M. The leadoff base runner to get Austin Boast to the plate for the Aggies.
Well, ordinarily you would think a sacrifice bunt is in order as you see this base hit find the 5-6 hole, but we talked about the Aggies. Just 2 sacrifice bunts the entire year.
And they were the final team in the country to put one down this year in late April.
Well, you see the Cardinal, you see Drew Bowser at third base. He's playing even with the bag, and we have a timeout. You're entitled to a hitter's meeting, and I think that's what they were trying to take right there because of the time. But if you're Bowser, third baseman for the Cardinals, you just have to read the bat right here, and the most important thing if you're a Cardinal is to get an out. If there is a bunt, just get an out somewhere.
Austin Boast. Called strike to the Aggies second baseman. 1 for 3 tonight with a double and a run. Leadoff single, Ryan Targach, the go-ahead run at first base for the Aggies. Hit in the air deep down the left field line. Foul. Boy, Austin Boast all over that changeup and just out in front.
He was, but it's very interesting where the Cardinals' Drew Bowser is playing Boast right now. You get a tie game, and conventional wisdom would tell you that you want to protect the line, no doubles.
I mean Tommy Troy.
Excuse me, Tommy Troy at third base. But he's off the line, and especially after this changeup was pulled foul.
0-2 on Boast. And that one hit him. Breaking ball on an 0-2 pitch, and A&M's got 2 on with nobody out. On an 0-2 breaking ball.
Well, it's a curveball from Dowd that gets the back foot of Boast, and now the Aggies first and second is, we'll get a look at it right here. Right in the back shoe.
Thomas Eager, the Stanford pitching coach, of the mound, is Drew Dowd got a situation to deal with now. 2 on and nobody out, and Brett Minnick coming up. But again, for Texas A&M West, it's the bottom of the order that's getting it going.
It has been the entire couple games. We saw what the 3-4-5, all the damage or lack of damage at 3-4-5 for the Aggies has done, but it's been the bottom part of this lineup, and once again we see it coming to pass again. First and second, no outs, and you know, again, we question, do you bunt right here? And again, this is left on left, right? But we're talking about a hitter, Minnick, who Schlossnagle told us early in the year he hit in the 3-4 hole.
1 for 2 tonight, an RBI double. He's also walked and scored a run. 4-4 in the 8th. Brett Minnick left on left. Ball 1 from Dowd, and some indecision with Stanford defensively as they were looking into the dugout what to do, because again, A&M just doesn't bunt.
No, again, you see Tommy Troy right there. He's on the grass.
Good fastball from Drew Dowd for a strike.
But if you're Jim Schlossnagle, you're not going to change what you have done the entire year all of a sudden in the biggest game of the year. You're just not going to do it. It's not their MO. That's not how they roll.
Targac at second, Boast at first. 1-1. In there from Dowd, it's 1-2.
But I will say this. The Cardinal right now on a base hit have to have an opportunity to throw the runner out at the plate. And they're relatively deep all the way across. You're in a 4-4 game in the top of the 8th inning. Take a look at him right there. Now Brayton Montgomery in right field has a cannon for an arm.
Ball and 2 strikes. Here it comes. Hit in the air, right center field, into the alleyway. And that one falls in for a hit. Runners had to hold, and they'll only advance 1 base. Targac to third, Austin Boast to second. They are loaded with nobody out. And the 9-hitter, the freshman catcher, Max Coffer, coming up for Texas A&M.
Well, Targac at second base, he controls the base runner behind him, which is Boast. And watch Boast pick up the ball, but he's also, at that point in time, he's almost at second base right there, so he can see the ball, and Targac doesn't really read it that well. But fortunate for the Aggies, they end up with the bases loaded and no outs.
Curve from Dowd for a strike as Ryan Bruno is getting up in the bullpen now for Stanford. And the Cardinal playing the infield at double play depth. Corners are playing up a bit. Middle of the diamond cheating for 2. 1 strike pitch. Pulled on the ground, foul. It's 0-2 on Coffer.
Well, to your point, I mean, the Cardinals are rolling the dice here. I mean, that's the confidence that David Esker has in his offense. They're going to concede a run up the middle, and he's counting on his offense and ability to score at minimum 1 run.
0-2 on Max Coffer. The pitch. And he bounces the changeup, and looking down at the mound, maybe Dowd stumbled with that delivery like we saw Garcia for A&M do earlier.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on Malcolm Moore behind the dish. We said he's had some issues behind the dish with blocking balls, and even though he blocked this ball, you could see him try to come up rather than go down to block that ball. He's coming up, and fortunate for him and the Cardinal, it hits him in the chest.
Base is full for A&M. Dowd. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Gets the strikeout. And there's 1 out.
Boy, is that a big out for the Cardinal and Dowd right there. It's just a good fastball down and away. We'll get a look at it right here. It's at the bottom part of the zone. It's just perfectly located. And now it changes the entire mindset of the infield for the Cardinal, because previous, with no outs, if any ball was hit to Troy at third base, he's coming back to the dish. Any ball hit to Graham, he's coming to the dish. Now any ball at Troy or to his left, now they just do the 5-4-3 double play.
Bases loaded, 1 out. Hunter Haas, a 2-run double in the 6th to tie the game, and he takes ball 1. That was the first batter that Dowd faced, taking over for Joey Dixon. Ryan Targac at third, Austin Boast at second, Brett Minnick at first. 2-0. Top of the order for A&M. 2-0 on Hunter Haas. Inside edge and a strike to the A&M shortstop, who kicks the ground in frustration.
Well, Haas didn't like it, nor did the Aggie fans.
A big strike, a much needed strike for Dowd. 2-1. Swinging a liner over third, down the line. Hunter Haas comes through. Austin Boast is in. They're sending Brett Minnick all the way from first, and a 3-run double, and A&M leads 7-4. What a night for Hunter Haas. 2-run double, tying the game, and now he breaks the tie of this ball down the left field line.
Well, it's a fastball in the inside part. He does not miss it. But what a great job by Nolan Kane, the third base coach for the Aggies. The aggressiveness to send this third runner in, and just like that, the Aggies up 3. And you see Haas, he said, let's go.
Pair of doubles, 5 driven in for Hunter Haas tonight. Jack Moss now the hitter, 2 for 4 tonight. So A&M trailed at 4-1. They're now ahead 7-4. 0-1 from Dowd. Boy, Texas A&M just waiting for an opportunity, and they found it here in the 8th. 2-0 the count.
Well, you can't help but think about all the opportunities the Cardinal had earlier in the game.
They've stranded 10 runners tonight, leaving them loaded. In the 5th inning, Dowd with the curve in there for a strike. Bruno has sat down in the Stanford bullpen. A right-hander looks like Brant Pantzer getting loose. Swing and a miss, 2-2. Actually, not Pantzer. That is Torrent O'Haron, the freshman, getting loose. 2-2 on Jack Moss. Step off to
reset the clock.
Texas A&M rallying, trying to put themselves in the driver's seat of this Stanford Regional. Got him, struck him out. There's 2 gone here in the 8th. That'll bring up Trevor Werner for the Aggies, who is 0 for 4 tonight. Career high 5 RBIs for Hunter Haas.
Well, he is a big run out there at second base for the Aggies. They can extend this lead from 7-4 to 8-4, and of course with Werner up there, he has the ability to hit the ball in the trees.
Malcolm Moore will go visit the mound first. Check on Drew Dowd here.
Well, they might be trying to figure out who they want to pitch to right here with the left-hander on deck, Lavalette.
Big night for Hunter Haas. Right in the middle of things is Thomas Eager, the Stanford pitching coach, heading out to the mound. The NCAA Regionals coverage for all 16 sites continues tomorrow on ESPN Plus and the ESPN app. For more information, visit ncaa.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships.
How about that moon?
Got a little glow to it. So Stanford going to the bullpen. They summon Torrent O'Haron. Runner at second, 2 outs, and A&M has taken the lead here in the 8th and looking for more. The NCAA Baseball Regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Aggie fans enjoying themselves right now as Texas A&M rallying. 7-4. 3 runs here in the 8th, courtesy of a bases clearing. 3-run double from Hunter Haas. He's at second base. Torrent O'Haron, new pitcher for Stanford. Freshman from Rockland, which is near Sacramento. And that 11.34 ERA. But he's got 25 strikeouts, but the 19 walks. And 16 2/3 innings for O'Haron.
Well, he's got a good arsenal, a fastball, slider, changeup, and a curveball, but he can rush it up there. But the Cardinals like the matchup against Werner more than they liked with Dowd out there.
So O'Haron last worked in the Pac-12 tournament against Oregon last Thursday. And he missed his way inside. Inconsistent freshman year for O'Haron. 0 for 4 tonight, Werner. He's shown flashes at times, but has not been able to duplicate it. Werner drives that one deep but foul.
But that's most of the time what you will see out of young pitchers in D1 baseball, right? You see why they're at D1 baseball, what's coming out of their hand. It's the ability to be consistent that separates the elite.
1-1 on Werner. Missed high, 2-1. Stanford led it 4-1, but A&M rallied a run in the 4th. 2-run double by Haas in the 6th, and the 3-run double by Haas here in the 8th. Out of play, it's 2-2. keep in mind, in the last 2 tournaments, Texas A&M has not lost a game in the regionals or in the supers. In the air, shallow right center. Eddie Park charging in, and the center fielder makes the grab, side retired, but A&M breaks the tie, courtesy of Hunter Haas, giving A&M the lead.
Well, Haas comes through again in a big way for the Aggies. He clears the bases to put the Aggies up 3, and we're heading to the bottom of the 8th. Stanford in danger here.
Three runs in the top of the 8th for Texas A&M to break the 3-3 tie. 7-4 Aggies to the last of the 8th. 9-1-2 for the Cardinal. Here in the home half of the 8th inning with Wes Clements and our ESPN crew. Roxy Bernstein with you, Sunken Diamond on the Stanford campus. And it's Matt Dillard out of the bullpen for the Aggies. Dillard worked a scoreless inning in the 12-7 win against Cal State Fullerton last night, and the senior, there are his numbers on the year. Owen Cobb 1 for 2, a singled and walked, and time is called before Dillard throws that pitch, as the plate umpire Eric Gaucher moving away from behind the plate. Dillard still came through with the pitch. Dillard wondering, okay, what the heck was going on there?
I think the whole yard's wondering.
So now we start the last of the 8th. That's a strike to Owen Cobb. 4th pitcher used by A&M tonight. Brandon Garcia was tremendous. 2 2/3 hitless innings. He did walk 3 but struck out 2.
Just wicked.
Golfed by Cobb. Playable near 3rd. Trevor Werner makes the catch, 1 gone.
Huge out for the Aggies. Get the leadoff hitter. Again, the Cardinal chasing 3. They're just trying to get base runners right now. That's the only way you're going to make a comeback. It's just base runners.
Eddie Park 2 for 4 tonight with an RBI. A couple of singles for the top of the Stanford order, the center fielder. Time is called again. Now Eric Gaucher signals, let's go. Park rolls one over to foul at the first base side. It's 0-1.
It's the best time of year in college baseball. We've seen 2 #1 seeds already go down in Auburn and Oklahoma State, but you know, everybody, there's a lot of, it seems to be every year is a rush to judgment. The committee comes out and picks 64 teams, and
Eddie Park on the ground. Second base, Austin Bose throws out Park, and there's 2 away in the 8th.
But there's a lot of complaints, obviously, who got left out and who shouldn't have been a #2 seed or a 3 seed. And then you see these results, and people all across the country are going to say, see, I told you they shouldn't have been
jump to conclusions.
They shouldn't have been this, and they shouldn't have been this. And here's what I'm going to tell you. It's the best game in the world, folks. And 4s can beat 1s, and anybody can beat anybody. And this is why it's the best game in the world, and it's the best postseason in the NCAA. It's just a beautiful game and a beautiful sport. And anybody can beat anybody on the right day.
Ball 1 to Tommy Troy, who's walked twice tonight, is 0 for 2. 2 outs, bottom of the 8th inning. Matt Dillard, the pitch. 1-1. Stanford has not had a hit since a leadoff single by Alberto Rios in the 5th inning. This one will get to the seats, and it's a ball and 2 strikes on Tommy Troy. Can he reach it? Did he get it?
He's going to try.
Just over, it's wedged up against the chain link fence. Oh, look at that kid. He got it for somebody else.
It's supposed to be the other way around.
What a good gesture over there.
Yeah, but the adult's supposed to be giving it to the kid.
Well, I think the kid gave it to another kid.
size West.
2-2 on Troy. In the air, right side, backpedaling, going out to the outfield grass, and overrunning it is Austin Boast, and Tommy Troy, hustling all the way, is out at second base. Falls in, and then Troy is out trying to get to second.
Well, there's a time when you want to be aggressive, and there's a time when you want to shut it down. And right here, this is a mistake by Tommy Troy. He needs to shut it down at first when you're chasing 3. You see him misplay this, but it's the Aggies up 3 as we head to the 9th.
We'll look at our regional and the bracket, and the winner of our game advances to the regional final. Tomorrow night, the loser turns around at noon tomorrow. Will play Cal State Fullerton in an elimination game after the Titans survived one against San Jose State earlier today. Jace Laviolette leads off the 9th, strike 1.
Well, if the score holds, excuse me, Rod, but if the score holds, the Cardinals are going to be in the same position they were last year.
2-1 on Laviolette,
where they ended up winning 5 consecutive elimination games to get to Omaha.
2-1 on Laviolette. The pitch, and it's 3-1. It's Texas A&M. The last time the Aggies were 2-0 in a regional away from College Station was 2017. It wasn't that far from College Station. They were in Houston. And they beat Houston in the regional final. That third game to advance to the college, or the Supers rather. As Laviolette jogs down to first on the leadoff walk to start the 9th. Texas A&M has never started 2-0 in a regional played outside the state of Texas. That's what's at stake tonight. Jim Schlosnagel's club, if they can win this, they'll be in the driver's seat of this Stanford Regional. And rallying from an early 4-1 deficit, leading 7-4 in the 9th. Jordan Thompson, 0 for 4 with an RBI. As a move to first by Torin O'Haron. And also it's been a while for A&M since they rallied from a deficit of 3 or more runs. You have to go back to April 6th in a game against Auburn. They trailed Auburn 5-2 after 3. Came back to win that game 9-5 as Thomas Eager, Stanford pitching coach, heading out. Thomas Eager maybe going back to the bullpen as there's been activity down there. Max Meyer, sidewinding right-hander. Firing away. And we'll see if Stanford wants to make a change, and they do. Stanford going to the bullpen one more time, and they're just trying to keep this a 3-run deficit to give them a chance going to the bottom of the 9th.
Well, they are, but we talked about the importance of going 2-0 in regionals and how successful clubs that have go 2-0, and you see the numbers right there.
81% of the time, team that started a regional 2-0 advances to a super regional. Max Meyer out of the bullpen for Stanford. A&M up 3 in the 9th. Max Meyer, the senior from Belmont, Mass, in out of the Stanford bullpen, the 4th pitcher used by the Cardinal tonight. Torin O'Haron goes a 1/3 of an inning, issues the leadoff walk to Jace Laviolette. And now Jordan Thompson is going to be the hitter against Meyer. That inflated ERA. 21 strikeouts, but 28 hits allowed at 17 2/3 with the 11 walks.
Well, the Cardinals are just trying to Meyer has a sink ball, and all they're trying to do is bring him in and hope that he can induce Thompson to hit a ground ball, double play, and expedite getting out of this inning.
So Max Meyer will face Jordan Thompson here with Laviolette at first base, and Daniel Laviolette is a guy that can run. 18 steals on the season for Laviolette. Been thrown out 4 times at Texas A&M. 90 stolen bases on the year. Jordan Thompson 0 for 4. Ball 1. Most of the SEC as far as steals go, and Laviolette the leader for A&M in that category. Short lead though at first base. And showing bunt.
No way.
And Meyer yanked it. I think he caught everybody off guard. Breaking news, Texas A&M threatened to bunt.
Well, if you just joined us, the entire year, the Aggies have only had 2 sacrifice bunts.
2-0 the count on Thompson. Not squaring that time, and it's fouled out of play. Two and 1 the count. Evening has progressed. It's gotten a little bit cooler than it was. First pitch at 76 degrees. The marine layer starting to move in. Foul ball by Jordan Thompson.
It's still comfortable.
Pleasant.
I don't know about pleasant.
It's pleasant.
It's comfortable. Beautiful moon.
63 degrees. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out in the 9th. Joey Dixon started for Stanford, then Drew Dowd, Torrin O'Haron, now Meyer. And the 2-2. Hit on the ground, bounced near the bag at second base and through. Jace Laviolette on to third. And some indecision from Owen Cobb and Drew Bowser. They were looking at one another. The double play combination up the middle, and it just squeezes through for Jordan Thompson.
It does. Thompson hits it right up the middle, and take a look at Owen Cobb. Now Bowser's on the right side at second base, but I mean, this is going to be Cobb's ball no matter what for me, but great base running by Laviolette from first to third to read this and set the Aggies up at first and third and no outs.
Amazingly, that is the first hit by 3, 4, 5 hitters in the A&M lineup here in this regional. Runners in the corners, nobody out. Ryan Targach singled and scored in the 8th. 1 for 3 with a walk and a foul for Targach, who homered here last night.
Well, I am very, very surprised at how the Cardinals are playing their infielders right now. They're already chasing 3 runs, and they have the middle back. Yes, there's no outs, but you're already chasing 3 runs.
One strike pitch to Targach. 0-2. As the runner at first, Jordan Thompson bluffing like he was going to go. Top of the 9th inning. Texas A&M rallying from a 4-1 deficit, now leading at 7-4 and looking to get some add-on runs. One and 2 on Targach. Middle of the diamond looking for the double play, despite nobody out.
And chasing 3.
Down 3 runs in the 9th inning. skied. Left side, Owen Cobb, the shortstop, settles under it and makes the grab for out number 1. Runners have to hold. That'll bring up Austin Boast. Scored 2 runs tonight. Runners at the corners, 1 out for the Aggies. Second baseman is again sitting at 199 career hits. Extending a hitting streak to 8 games for Boast.
You see Malcolm Moore going out in front of the dish in case the Aggies send the runner from first, what defensive play they're going to run.
So now do you feel more comfortable Stanford playing double play depth in the infield?
Well, yeah, of course. When you have the right-handed Boast up here, not that he can't run, but it makes sense. You could justify it. And again, not one way to do anything, and that's the beauty of our game. I mean, David Usker is the one running that club, and he rolled the dice there, and it worked for him. They're not out of this inning yet.
0-1 on Boast. Meyer. The pitch, way outside, 1-1. If you're looking to the bottom of the 9, Stanford has the heart of the order coming up. Carter Graham, Braden Montgomery, Alberto Rios. Stanford would love it if they could keep it a 3-run game. That means 2 guys get on in front of Rios, the Pac-12 Player of the Year, and comes up with the tying run. Runner goes from first, and it's fouled off by Boast. Jordan Thompson will head back to first base.
But when you think about Boast, Roxy, I mean, he's got double-digit stolen bases, so he can run. And then you take a look at Owen Cobb, how deep he's playing it short. And if you're trying to get a double play to end the inning, you need to understand who's running at the dish. So a lot of times you can run, and which Boast can run, you're going to have to shorten up. And Owen right now is pretty deep at short.
Ball and 2 strikes on Boast. Laviolette at third, Thompson at first. There's a foul at home plate as Boast spoiling that one from Max Meyer. Ball and 2 strikes. 1 out in the 9th. Runners stretch out to their leads. Sidewinder, Max Meyer. Line out toward right field. Braden Montgomery breaks over, makes the catch, tagging. Jace Laviolette racing home. The throw is too late. And a sac fly, and it's 8-4 Texas A&M. RBI for Boast, his 43rd of the season.
Real good job by Boast. He'd been hooking that sink ball from Meyer, and he makes an adjustment, stays in the zone a little bit longer, and hits that ball to right field to get that sac fly. But if you're a hitter out there, it's a great mentality when you have a runner at third and less than 2 is to shut down the pull side, shut the left side of the field. It'll keep your bat in the zone long enough to where you can hit something hard up the middle and or away.
2 down. Jordan Thompson at first. Brett Minnick the batter. 2 hits. He scored 2 runs tonight. And with an RBI. So now it's a 4-run lead for Texas A&M. And they're 3 outs away from advancing to the regional final. And the runner on delayed steal. Malcolm Moore's throw. And a diving, lunging stop by Owen Cobb, preventing that one from going into center. And also preventing the runner getting to third, but they've called interference at the plate on the swing. Brett Minnick interfered with the catcher Malcolm Moore making the throw. So automatically, Jordan Thompson is out, and the side is retired, but a run for A&M. We go to the bottom of the ninth. The Aggies trying to close it out. 8-4, they lead Stanford. And here's that interference to end the top of the ninth. Look at the line score and another big insurance run for Texas A&M after they broke the 4-4 tie with Hunter Haas's 3-run double in the 7th. And A&M is 3 outs away from advancing to the regional final. Carter Graham takes ball 1 from Matt Dillard. Some defensive changes for the Aggies here in the bottom of the ninth. Jace Laviolette moves from right to left field. And Jordan Thompson, the center fielder, is now in right. And the new center fielder is Stanley Tucker. Ball 3 on Carter Graham.
The last thing you want if you're an Aggie fan or in the dugout of the Aggies is a leadoff walk.
There's a strike to Carter Graham. It's 3-1.
Since the 4th inning, the Aggies have outscored the Cardinals 7-0.
And for Stanford, it's missed opportunities. And Carter Graham takes a strike. He was headed up the first baseline. It's full.
Now you got to stay in the box right there.
Three and 2. Graham fights it off. We'll do it again.
Gutsy pitch call from the Aggies. It's a 3-2 off-speed pitch.
Full count on Carter Graham. 0 for 3 with a run tonight. Walked back in the first. And he strikes out. 1 gone in the 9th.
What a comeback from Dillard. It's behind 3-0. Comes back to punch out Carter Graham. Get a look at it. It's just a fastball. Middle.
Braden Montgomery, the hitter, 1 for 4, a 2-run blast in the first inning. Stanford, all 4 runs coming in the first 3 innings of this game. But they stranded 2 in the 4th, 2 more in the 5th, another runner in the 6th, another in the 7th. In the air to right from Montgomery. Right at Jordan Thompson, backing up and right. He makes the catch, moving parallel to the warning track out there. There's 2 away. Texas A&M is 1 out away from moving to the regional final, and Alberto Rios trying to keep it going for the Cardinal. Stanford jumped out to a 4-1 lead after 3, and since, the Aggie bullpen has been fabulous. Evan Oschenbeck, Brandon Garcia, and now Matt Dillard, and it's strike 1 to Alberto Rios, who's 2 for 4 with a run tonight. Rios lashes that one foul. Boy, everything he hits is squared up.
He's just a tremendous talent. You see his numbers, and he just joined us. This youngster had 7 at-bats the entire last year. And he ends up being the Pac-12 Player of the Year and one of the better hitters in the entire nation.
Fouled away by Rios. Cal State Fullerton plays the loser of this game tomorrow at noon local, 3 Eastern. And Texas A&M will advance if they can finish this one off to the regional final tomorrow night. Now, whoever wins that elimination game during the daytime tomorrow would need to beat Texas A&M twice in this double elimination format.
And if there's any club familiar with that, it would be the Cardinal.
0-2 on Rios. Matt Dillard. And just getting a piece as Rios to stay alive.
Real good changeup from Dillard right there. Some other finals. Texas took care of Miami 4-1. Oregon beat Vandy 8-7. Santa Clara eliminated University of Arizona.
0-2 on Rios. Shift on in the infield for the Aggies. And Rios reaches for it, just fights it off. Texas A&M with 3 on the left side of the infield. Second baseman Boast is slid over on the other side of second base. There you see him at the bottom of your screen.
That has more to do with the type of pitches that Dillard throws. He's not a hard thrower at all.
Rios, another foul.
Majority of his out pitches are soft. Now, we've seen Rios leave the yard to the right side and give many hits the opposite way. But I think this is more on what the Aggies plan on throwing Rios.
Another foul ball from Rios. Spoiling pitch after pitch, and Dillard not wasting it.
No, he's
just coming right at him, and okay, here it is, hit it.
And Rios is kind of a throwback. I mean, with 2 strikes, I don't want to say he chokes up, but he shortens up. He just tries to put the ball in play. He's just so doggone strong that he has a knack for hitting balls out with 2 strikes.
Ball and 2 strikes on Alberto Rios. Texas A&M trying to finish this one off. Fouled straight back by Rios. At what point does Matt Dillard get a little frustrated? All right, come on, just
no, he's not
either
frustrated.
put it in play.
He's not frustrated at all. They're up 8-4 on a national seed right now. He's out there having fun.
This will be pitch number 11 of the at-bat. Two and 2 on Alberto Rios. And it's full on the Stanford left fielder. Stanford just trying to get base runners here. And Rios in a battle with Matt Dillard. And that's ball 4, and there is a walk for Alberto Rios.
I don't know if you noticed what Rios did right there. On a 3-2 count, he just moved up in the box, expecting something soft.
Two outs, Rios is on. Malcolm Moore, 1 for 3, an RBI double in the 3rd. He's also walked and scored a run tonight. Rios is on. Here with 2 outs in the last of the 9th inning. 8-4 Aggies. Strike 1 to Malcolm Moore.
This is what we're talking about Rios. Watch Rios just before this last pitch. Watch him move up in the box. You see that? Very rarely you're ever going to see hitters move up in a box in the major leagues.
One strike pitch. 1-1. Rios at first, not being held on. Matt Dillard, the 1-1. And that one hit Malcolm Moore, and Stanford has 2 on. And Drew Bowser coming to bat. Boy, how big is that run that Texas A&M got in the top of the 9th now?
Well, it's huge. It's huge. We talked about it, how big it was.
Drew Bowser has walked twice tonight. He's 0 for 2. The tying run is on deck for the Cardinal. Walk and a hit by pitch. Stanford trying to put up a fight here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
This is wearing your outfield. I mean, again, we talk about it all the time. There's not one way to play, but for me, this is where I like to move my outfielders in, right, just to take away the dunker. And I'll take the chance if Bowser hits one in the gap, but it's the dunker that gets that tying run to the dish. The jam shot, the ball right off the end of the bat.
Troy Wansing begins to get loose in the bullpen just in case for the Aggies. Drew Bowser the hitter. Rios at second, Moore at first base. Ball 1 to Bowser. Stanford's only hit since the leadoff hit in the 5th inning was that bloop by Tommy Troy, who was thrown out trying to stretch it into a double in the 8th inning. Strike to Bowser. It's 1-1. One ball, one strike. Dillard, the pitch. Bowser on the ground, left side. Off the glove with a lunging Werner into left. Rios racing home. Stopping at second is Moore. An RBI single for Drew Bowser. And Stanford will get the tying run to the plate.
Well, we talked about it earlier. We're going to get a trip out to the mound, but 27th out, always the toughest. And you see Bowser fooled out in front a little bit off the glove of Werner at third. Trickles into left field. And the tying run will come to the plate for the Cardinal.
And Texas A&M will go to the bullpen trying to get the last out. 2 on, 2 out, bottom of the 9th. Aggies up 8-5 over Stanford. Sophomore Troy Wansing out of the bullpen trying to get the final out for Texas A&M. 8-5. Stanford with a run here at the bottom of the 9th. 2 on, 2 out. There are the numbers for Wansing on the season.
Good numbers, 50 in the 3rd innings. You see the 70 punch outs. And the 30 walks obviously are an issue, but the 70 punch outs are obviously impressive, and that's what the Aggies want him to do right now to Becerra. Punch him out and get this W.
5th pitcher by A&M, all lefties tonight. And this is Timo Becerra, came in as a pinch hitter for the DH Jimmy Nadai in the 5th inning and walked. He is 0 for 1. And Becerra's only in there, and Nadai as well, because Jake Sapien, Stanford's DH, was hit by a pitch in the face last night. And not available for David Esker tonight. And Timo Becerra gets hit by a pitch. And the tying run is on, and Stanford has the winning run coming to the plate. Second batter that A&M has hit here in the 9th. This all started with 2 outs and a walk after a lengthy at-bat with Alberto Rios.
Very similar to the Aggies when they scored a run when Drew Dowd hit the runner, hitter in his back leg and back foot. And now the tying run is at first, and Owen Cobb comes to the plate. And Owen Cobb, even though he's a 9-hole hitter, has had 6 home runs this year.
Saborn Campbell pinch running for Stanford at first. He is the tying run. Owen Cobb tonight is 1 for 3 with a single and a walk. He lined into a double play in the 5th. And now David Esker calling for an offensive conference here.
And this changes the entirety of the defense and the outfielders for the Aggies. Now they have to play no doubles, so now they're going to play deeper.
8-5 A&M. So Owen Cobb is the batter for Stanford, the senior shortstop. So Troy Wansing trying to get the final out. Matt Dillard worked an inning and 2/3. So with 2 outs and nobody on, Rios walked. Malcolm Moore was hit by a pitch. Drew Bowser singled off the glove of the third baseman Trevor Werner to bring in Rios. And now Timo Becerra hit by a pitch, and Saborn Campbell running for him at first. Strike 1 to Owen Cobb.
So Warner, the third baseman for the Aggies, he's off the line, Rox. He's not playing no doubles.
Wansing, 1 strike pitch. And Cobb takes ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
There you take a look at Werner at third. He's off the line.
Same with Moss at first. Good breaking ball from Wansing, and now Stanford down to their last strike.
Pretty good game, isn't it?
High drama in the bottom of the 9th. 1-2. Swing and a ground ball foul wide of third. Looks like more tension in the stands than in the dugouts.
Pretty much everybody's on their feet.
1-2 on Owen Cobb. Bases full for Stanford. 3-run lead for the Aggies. Wansing. Again the 1-2. That's in the dirt, knocked down by the catcher Max Coffer. 2-2 on Owen Cobb. Runners take their leads for the Cardinal. Fought off by Cobb. Possibly went after ball 3.
No, he did. Cobb just right now in battle mode with 2 strikes. All he's trying to do is just battle, fight. Try to put the ball in play somewhere. Hope he finds a hole.
7th pitch of the at-bat. Hit in the air. Right center coming in. Jordan Thompson is there, and Texas A&M is held on. They walk the tightrope in the 9th. Stanford trying to rally, and the Aggies improved to 7-0 in regionals and super regionals the last 2 tournaments. And with the big win that puts them into the regional final here at Stanford, they are in the driver's seat here on the farm.
Well, they are. I mean, it was a tremendous game today as we're going to take a look at the bracket.
So you can move Texas A&M into the regional final. Stanford will have to come back at noon tomorrow locally. Elimination game against Cal State Fullerton, who survived one earlier today, against San Jose State. But Texas A&M rolling 5 left-handers to the mound tonight, shutting down Stanford, and the Cardinal led it 4-1 after 3, but then A&M came roaring back behind. Clutch hitting from Hunter Haas, who is our Capital One rewarding performance. Hunter Haas, a 3-run double, breaking the 4-4 tie in the game.
Well, he took a fastball and hooked it down the left field line at the time that bases loaded for the Aggies, and every one of those base runners came across the plate, and at the time gave the Aggies a 3-run lead. And you see the emotion from Haas right there. Prior to that, he had a 2-run double.
So Stanford strands 13 runners tonight, and Troy Wansing gets the final out, and A&M in the regional final. Final score, 8-5 Texas A&M. For Wes Clements and our ESPN crew, Roxy Bernstein, so long from Stanford.